Pooja, you are not audible. Initially you were, but now you are not audible. Now you are audible. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, now you are audible.
A very pleasant good evening to all the esteemed guests of today's evening. It's pleasure and honor to welcome you all the panelist speakers from across the globe. We are here with another amazing and interesting seat talk session. So, as we all know, that feelings or emotions are more genuine paths to knowledge. So, with this, we will start our sessions for today's evening. Can I have the video, please? Emotional intelligence, as we know that it is EQ, that is the ability to understand and control our emotions. Emotionally intelligent people know how to recognize their negative emotions and reduce the bad impact they have on their life. As we all know that how much emotions we all have. There are different ways like anger, love, compassion. So today we all are here to discuss about how much importance and how we need to control our this emotions. So first of all, to begin with, first of all, I will introduce my co-moderator, Dr. Soji Gopalan Krishnan Pillai, sir. I welcome you, sir.
Good evening, ma'am.
Soji, yeah, he is an academician, researcher, administrator, consultant. Currently, he is associated with Florida State University, US. He had several posts, position head of the Department of Hospitality and Tourism. And one surprising thing for me that he is a very good chef, isn't it? So we will love to have this. His working experience stretch across the US, Middle East, and Southeast Asian countries. I welcome you, sir. So before
Thank you
I
very
will
much,
handle
ma'am.
the proceedings to Dr. Soji, sir.
Thank you very much, Pooja ma'am, for your wonderful introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Wishes as per the time of the day is a great opportunity to assemble in this platform to talk about emotional intelligence. And as you know, this session, this platform, today we will be having 3 different moderators and wide range of speakers speaking about this great topic on emotional intelligence. What a great topic for today. Let me introduce Dr. Pooja Dikshit Joshi. She is a highly committed, self-motivated, enthusiastic educator. She's an empathetic academician and amateur counselor. Indeed, is a time of this. Indeed, the counseling is the need of the time, and she is a lecturer, researcher with 10 years of experience teaching various undergraduate, postgraduate courses. She is into planning and appropriate teaching programs and addressing the wide, diverse needs of the students. She used a lot of technology to equip her classroom, and she is also well versed and efficient in developing curriculum, accommodating various learning style for the students, and she is creating a positive educational philosophy to the world as a whole. Our next speaker, moderator, who will be moderating the section is Ms. Fatima Sogra. She is the founder of RK Foundation, CBO of, and the president of IDYMPA, international speaker. She is a master trainer and she is having diverse experience in this field. And I welcome both moderator for this session, Dr. Pooja Dikshit Joshi and Ms. Fatima Sogra. Please give them a round of applause and hand over the platform to Ms. Fatima Sogra for the further proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Good evening, everyone, one and all present here today in this session. I'm very thankful for such a wonderful introduction. Now I am handing over the session to Dr. Pooja Dikshit ma'am. You kindly proceed.
Thank you, Fatma. Uh, To begin with the session, I would like to call upon our one and only one, and if everyone knows her very well, Dr. Aruna Vatkar, ma'am, the founder and the managing director of HATE, that is Harvest Educational Transformation Solutions. She is a founder and a chairperson of. She is a president of WICCI, Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry for Karnataka Training and Development Council. Dr. Aruna is a dedicated and resourceful, passionate educator coming from the army lineage. She has been into this education through 3 decades and has diligently played a role of a teacher in CBSE as well as ICSE. She has been an academic coordinator, a principal. She is a visionary and she wants to create a learning environment across for teachers and children. So much to learn from you, ma'am. A sense of responsibility will responsive new ways of interacting various form of knowledge to help the student develop intellectually and emotionally, as every individual is unique. This is what she believes. Her admits the accelerating change of the environment to grow in climate of non-threatening respect and trust, where teachers need to empower brightly to create innovators and researchers in them for the right teaching and technological development. She is associated with many organizations to bring about the change and transform lives of students as well as teachers. She wants to empower women, upliftment of the society with passion and dedication. She believes the key means keep educating yourself. She believes keep extending yourself until unless you reach the goal. Very rightly said, ma'am. I remember the word of Swami Vivekananda, arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. She has a recipient of many outstanding awards. To mention a few, Indian Star Republic Award 2019, International Women Achiever Award 2021, Indian Humanitarian Award 2020 by Global Top Education Foundation. She has been awarded as a National Builder Award by Rotary Club of Mumbai West Coast. She has been awarded Top Women of Substance 2020 on Women's Day and Speaker by St. Teresa University of Peace. Thank you so much, ma'am. We welcome you, ma'am, on this today's session of emotional intelligence. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Pooja, for this warm welcome and my lovely introduction. Thank you so much. And a warm welcome and to all on this platform, and good evening to one and all here present. And thank you so much, Raviji, for making me a part of this Seed Talk 2022. It would be a pleasure. It is a pleasure being here. So yes, today, as Mr. Saji said, that it is an important and a very interesting topic, which is emotional intelligence. Yes, every day, in every step, we have to deal with emotional intelligence. Who does not? Everyone does. What actually is, like as Dr. Pooja said, emotional intelligence is nothing but the ability to manage both your own emotions and understanding the emotions of people around you. At the same time, without getting too emotional about it, because emotions are understood and controlled through your intellectual prowess. When we say about emotional intelligence, when we talk about emotional intelligence, very equivalently, there is emotional quotient as well. So they both go together, because if you are only emotional intelligent and you don't have emotional quotient, so then they don't gel well, because both are equally required for our daily life, whether it could be your workplace, it could be your home, it could be your social gathering, anywhere that you go, both go hand in hand. Because some of the emotional intelligence people, that one need to inculcate in ourselves, that is our feeling towards others, know how to interpret their emotions without judging them, evaluating them, or coming up with a conclusion. Recognizing how their emotions are, how our emotions, the way we behave, the way we interact can affect others. We need to regulate our own emotions. We may be going through a lot of stuff, but it doesn't mean that our struggle or our bad temper, or anything that we have in our own self should affect others. You need to regulate it. And manage also the people's emotion, because very important, because you cannot laugh on what they say or what they're going through, because today they are going through, but tomorrow you may go through that. So be considerate, be very polite, and be very human-based thoughts towards them. But then we have a big question. Can emotional intelligence be taught? Really? Or can emotional quotient be taught? No. Emotional intelligence is something that is learned from the birth, one by one. When your child starts learning ABC, the literacy and the numeracy from the beginning, their emotional intelligence and their emotional quotient, behavior towards others, is going forward. It's increasing day by day. However, as Caruso says, that it can be improved or it can be nurtured by time. It cannot be learned. It need to be nurtured in ourselves, because emotional intelligence is something that we need to create. And with emotional intelligence comes with the emotional quotient, because intelligence, your certification, your education teaches you how to behave with people, how to interact with people, how to get into their shoes. That is what we relate the real education is. Being into the education sector, we always understand, why are we in the education sector? Because we understand the biological, the psychological behavior of the child. Why is the child behaving in a very weird manner? Why is it affecting its studies? We do counseling. We do so many things. But why do we do? Because we need to have not our degrees that we are facing as a principal or as an educator, but also we are connected psychologically. We have learned psychology in order to connect with them emotionally. Because unless we connect emotionally to anybody in that matter, like me connecting with Idym, or me connecting with any other groups, or me connecting with each one of you here individually, helps me to understand you better, helps me to collate myself with you better. Why? If I'm here on the higher position, I say, no, this is what I know, this is my intelligence, I'm going to just talk it out and leave, because I don't want to connect with anybody. I want to put up my the only thing is my intelligence. No, it doesn't work. So how is that what are the things that we need to really inculcate in ourselves when we talk about the emotional quotient? It can be divided into many various parts when it comes to self-awareness, your motivation level, managing emotions, empathy, handling relationships, so many together. And all these factors need emotional intelligence, at the same time, emotional quotient, because both, as I said, goes hand in hand. And self-awareness, when I talk about, is nothing but having a clear understanding of our own strengths, our own limitations, our own emotions, our own beliefs, and our own motivational level. And very important factor is first understand yourself. What is that you recognize in yourself? Have you analyzed yourself? That is called self-awareness, which would help you to use your emotional intelligence to and emotional quotient towards others. Until unless we have the self-awareness of that, we cannot inculcate or we cannot imbibe in others. Motivation is nothing but using our own self-control or channelizing our emotional level towards a goal that we want to reach up to. And managing emotions. Managing emotions is a very, very difficult aspect, because it's an emotional intelligence skill that actually relates to handling our own emotions effectively, typically appropriately, according to the situations. So we cannot act differently with the situations that without understanding the situation, what the other person is facing. That's very, very important. Where there is a ruler. What is a ruler? Ruler is something that is to be measure your emotional intelligence managing skills. Ruler, which is R, standing for recognizing. U stands for understanding. L stands for labeling. E stands for expressing. And R stands for regulating. Very, very important until unless you start to recognize your own emotions, the other person's emotion, understand yourself, understand the others, labeling yourself, which is actually not good, but then we need to know to what extent can we do that, but then that's not again. But yes, that is where you measure yourself. Are you labeling everyone, just listening to them and okay, she is that or he is that? No, we cannot do that. And again, another one is empathy, understanding the emotional perspective of others. Nobody needs sympathy, but we need to keep in mind that we need to be empathizing towards the situation. Put yourself into their shoes and try to analyze their situation without judging or without labeling them. So very importantly, again, the social skills, which is very, very important. How are you managing the social skills? Because studies show that those individuals with high sense of emotional intelligence tend to succeed and excel in different areas of life. That is your overall performance in whatever you do, the quality of life you live, quality of life you live, on your own personal effectiveness, how you create on others, the effect when you deliver and you impart and you give that impact of your own self, and the relationship quality, the relationship with each and everyone, with your friends, with your relatives, with your workspace, everywhere. And then which is again divided into self-awareness, social awareness, self-management, social skills. Are we aware of the social skills? Which can be an influencer. We all are influencers in one way or the other. Inspirational leadership, developing others, influencing, building bonds, teamwork, and collaboration, which we all are doing today. It is a collaboration where we put our thoughts, understand each one's thoughts, and see how we lead together. So there are various aspects when each person will have a high emotional intelligence or the low emotional intelligence. Sorry. High emotional intelligence are something where we are detailed, careful, meticulous, and systematic. And whereas the differentiation when we can imagine, and that the low emotional intelligence and the high emotional intelligence helps us in our education field to see what our teachers need, what our students need. So we need to be aware of all these aspects of the low and the high emotional intelligence. And I'm not going very detailedly into it because it's a huge topic and a vast topic where I really need to, have a lot of time, and we have literally 5 minutes. And then we talk about how do we use, because when I'm talking about IQ and EQ, I mean, emotional intelligence or intelligence quotient or emotional quotient, it is the head and the heart. Your head is intellectual, but your heart is emotional. So emotional intelligence is thinking part of the head, and EQ is the feeling part, which is the part of, makes us a part of a personality. And how do we use this emotional intelligence? Being able to accept criticism and responsibility, being able to move on after making a mistake and improvising it, being able to say no when you need to, being able to share your feelings with others where they would not laugh at you or they would not judge at you, being able to solve problems in ways that works for everyone as a win-win situation, understanding their situation, having empathy for other people, having most and importantly, having the greatest listening skills, because we tend to cut other people down before they complete their sentence, and we just said, oh, no, that is what you're thinking, this is what it should be, and this is what you should think. But actually, no, it is not. You need to listen, to discuss and understand them, instead of telling, I feel what you're going through, instead of saying, I know what you're going through. So yes, so the best example of emotional intelligence is keeping quiet when one is unsure of the situation again, and just watching, observing, and listening to others. So when we all are here together, let us share some of the emotional intelligences, some of the emotional quotients together, and see how we can work on together. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aruna ma'am, for an excellent insight about EQ and some of the takeaways. Like, we need to be self-aware. As an educator, we should nurture this kind of emotional quotient in our students. We should listen to them. And the one thing which I really like, that we need to develop listening skills. I think we all need to develop that seriously, because most of the problem is because we are not listening to the other person. We need to learn how to behave with people. We need to be more empathetic. We need to be more considerate. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was pleasure listening to you. Thank you once again. Moving ahead with the next speaker of the day, everybody knows her very well. I would like to welcome Dr. Seema Negi ma'am. I'm really honored. Dr. Seema Negi ma'am, who comes from the lineage of the Indian Air Force, is a passionate educator. She has worked with some of the reputed schools, and presently she is a principal of Sanjeevani Word School, Mumbai. Dr. Seema discovered her love and zest towards education when she realized that her desire revolves around the development of the nation. She is a visionary. Her leadership has always been dynamic and passionate. She has prevailed in the field of education for more than 2 decades. She believes that she was destined to be a teacher. She is an epitome of sheer dedication and hard work. As a team player herself, she always believed in the transformational leadership, and I have really been seen that also, ma'am, on this IDYM Foundation. And I have learned a lot from you. With a great sense of pride, she empowers her team members, and how to balance can be maintained between technology driven and value based education. What makes her different is her down to earth approach. She believes in let's do it rather than do it. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being here. She has been bestowed with many prestigious awards. To mention a few, she has been a best academic leader. She has also got the Shiksha Bharati Nari Shakti National Builder Award from Rotary Club. She has been awarded as a Pride of India Educational Icon 2018, Women of Substance. She has been awarded a Super Achiever Award, Humanity Award, APJ Abdul Kalam Professional Excellence Award. The list is long. She has been awarded as a Pillar of Indian Award, Global Gandhi Peace Award. She is awarded, this is, we need to listen. She is awarded in 7 countries: Nepal, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Singapore, London, Dubai, and India. So much to learn, ma'am. She has won the prestigious title of Education Icon, Education Queen 2018. Her work is recognized by World Book of Record, UK, the Great Indian Book of Record, and Asian World Record. Her signature program, which really need to be mentioned, Principal Ki Pathshala, is much appreciated and applauded by the educator fraternity. She is a true leader. She leads by example. Hence, she is an example for many to follow. I welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, Pooja. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, from whichever part of the world you have joined. First of all, thank you so much, Ravi ji, for such a wonderful topic, which certainly needs a lot of deliberation at this time when we are bouncing back after pandemic. And my heartiest congratulations to the wonderful moderator who have taken the responsibility to take this evening forward. And not to mention the opening batsman, Dr. Aruna Vatkar. She has set the tone so well that we know now we have to take it forward. So without further delay, I'll take it forward from there. So anger, frustration, depression, jealousy, and insecurity, they are killing us every day. They are taking our happiness and pushing us into a vicious cycle, a cycle where we encounter regret at each and every end. But sadly, it seems we just can never get over it. It starts with anger and it ends with a regret. And this continues again and again until one day we suddenly realize that life has something more of surviving than living. Today, most of the people like me, you, like everyone throughout the world, we are gripped. We are gripped by distractions ranging from social media addiction to issues like substances abuse and depression. Some of us look forward to meditation for help, mindfulness, while others are busy consulting psychologists, life coaches, and doctors because we want to overcome these sufferings. Amidst all these trials and consultation, we, however, generally tend to ignore one common fact: our emotions. And emotions are what we are discussing today. So, our emotions decide our orientation, and our orientation, our motivation. I'll repeat it again. Our emotions decide our orientation, and our orientation, our motivation. But is it even possible to control our emotions? So let me take you back to Bhagavad Gita. I am one person who takes Bhagavad Gita everywhere, wherever I go. So I try to relate to that. So let me recite a verse from Bhagavad Gita that says about emotional management and control. This definitely is not an all fit kind of solution, but certainly it shares a beautiful insight. And if we apply it in a real life, we will feel the difference. So here is verse 35 from chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita. It says, Shri Bhagwan ne kaha, Chanchal ashanshay man mahabaho, कठिन साधन घना अभ्यास और विराग से पर पात hoti sadhana, which means the mind is undoubtedly restless and difficult to curb, but it cannot be controlled, but it can be controlled by repeated practice and detachment. So the key here is it can be controlled by repeated practice and detachment. Some of the practice Dr. Aruna Vatkar, she discussed in her deliberation. So Arjuna, who was troubled by his emotions of greed, fear, anxiety, attachments, seeks Lord Krishna's assistance. The Lord imparts him a valuable advice, which is equally relevant to each one of us even today. So let me share the four timeless wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. One, the basic human emotions are always the same, regardless of the era and the speed of development. Human in all ages and all part of the world have the same emotions, may it be fear, greed, and attachment. The physical entity of the circumstances might be different, but basically, major distractions that we suffer are because of our human emotions. Maybe the fear is paralyzing us, or it may be the greed and anger that is overcoming our wisdom, but it is we ourselves and our mind that is stopping us from attaining our goals. The gadget gratification, the Facebook or social media addiction, the body image problem, all actually are the indirect manifestation of our emotions like greed, anxiety, insecurity, and anger. So, in short, the manifestations and ways of expression, they have changed, but the basic human emotions are always the same. Second, the mind is difficult to curb. The first step out of the solution of any problem starts from figuring out its root cause. The verse that I have just recited from Bhagavad Gita attributes to the main cause of distraction, emotional mismanagement, and problem of the restlessness of mind. Our thoughts and emotions are always flowing from one point to another, from one stuff to another. The first step towards winning our mind is accepting the fact that our mind is hard to control. We need to accept that it is not easy for us to control our mind. And it is obvious that we do not give up. It starts by accepting the fact that consistency or consistent efforts are necessary. So, the action that we need to take is accept that the mind is difficult to curb and understand that it will take time and effort. So, consistency is the key. Now, my third wisdom is repeated practice and detachment is the key. How do we do that? So, we cannot control our thoughts and emotions, we can only manage them. But what we can do is control our mind, which is what decide what kind of emotions and thoughts are flowing in our life. When the negative thoughts are there, are we able to replace the negative thoughts by the positive thoughts? As Lord Krishna emphasized, he says the only solution to the restlessness of mind and the constant emotion fluctuation is devoted in consistent practice. What I told you, whenever the negative thoughts are coming into our mind, so consistently need to practice and embrace positive emotion. That is the best way to get rid of negative emotion. So what is the action needed here? The action is start trying to embrace positive emotions by remembering something positive every time when you feel down. Whenever you feel some negative emotion is trying to come to your mind, whenever you feel yourself getting suffocated with a negative feeling, try to replace it with positive one. No, it is not easy. It takes time. It takes consistent efforts. Last but not the least is the solution lies within. Undoubtedly, the solution lies within. The biggest hindrance towards finding the solution to any of the problem that we have is our habit of blaming others. It becomes very easy for us to blame other. Most of us, we keep on blaming our friends, the internet, the other factors for not being able to concentrate. If somebody will say, okay, we need to concentrate, no, I can't because my friend is calling, or I have to check my social media, or this, that, we always have something or other, some excuse. But Krishna has strongly emphasized in Bhagavad Gita that the solution lies within our own self. It lies within our ability to control our five senses, or the panch indriyas that we say: the taste, sight, touch, smell, and sound. And not only has he given the solution, but has always specifically highlighted the way to practice it. Discard the lower level of emotions that are negative and embrace the positive emotion that are higher level of emotion, but that can be only done through consistent efforts. In this verse itself, Krishna has highlighted that the most integral learning of life we all tend to ignore is we ourselves are the cause and solution of our problem. I mean, if you'll take a minute and think, we are the one who are the cause of our problem and the solution lies within. So what action is needed here? Stop blaming and start reflecting. Trust me, reflection is the key. The more you reflect your daily practices, you will realize and analyze how to tame your emotions. So, just before I conclude, here are some golden nuggets for all that I would like to share. First is emotion can be managed, not controlled. Second is consistently embrace positive emotion. That's the key. Solutions begin within, begin from within. So try to look for solution within your own self rather than blaming others. Blaming won't solve your problems. They will give rise to new ones. So last but not the least, the analytical shloka from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 15, sums up the entire concept of emotional intelligence. It says, a person who is calm and remain unperturbed by either pain or pleasure is the one who attained immorality. इनमें व्यथा जिसको नहीं वो नहीं वह मोक्ष पाने योग्य है सुख दुख जिसे सम सब कहीं. So that is all I would like to share. All we can do is emotion starts from us and it ends from us. Are we able to control that? If not, it's time that we need to do that. So rather than looking outward, it's time to look inward. Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Seema ma'am, for such a stimulating talk of yours. I'm really impressed. I think everyone present here will agree with you. What the Gita has to say. The four pathway you have told us that we need to feel that emotions can be managed. We need to be consistent. We need to bring about the solutions. We need to be compassionate with our thoughts, in our behavior, in our words, and we need to embrace the positive thoughts. We need to embrace our positive emotions, and we need to have a control over the five senses. Rightly said, ma'am. And in that way, I think we can conquer the world. This kind of conflict or war won't happen if all of us follow these patterns. And I think the consistency is very, very important because we all try, but this consistency doesn't, it breaks out, and the problem, it remains there only. Thank you so much once again, ma'am. Moving ahead with our third speaker, I would like to call upon our very highly dedicated Minakshi Mehra ma'am. She is an epitome of sheer dedication and hard work. She is the founder, director of Mighty Minds Academy. Previously working as a school principal by profession, she is a curriculum designer for CBSE and ICSE. She has been in education industries for 11 years, a trainer, a parent coach, a learner, a wonderful on this wonderful road of life. I welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Seema ma'am. And I would like, first of all, good evening to all the panelists who are here. And it is very pleasure to be here on this platform, IDYM. And I would like to give special thanks to Ravi sir for giving me a chance to speak on emotional intelligence, which is seriously very much needed. And I really agree with Seema ma'am, what she said about Bhagavad Gita, because even I follow, I'm a Bhakt of Krishna, so I do follow Bhagavad Gita a lot. And that is what it is used and said, but the thing is we don't follow, we don't implement in our life, but that is what we need to implement in our life. Again, Pooja ma'am, thank you so much for wonderful introduction, and you have really increased my morale today to speak much. But here I would like to share my screen. Just if you please just let me um, do that. I am not able to do it. Okay.
Are you able to share the screen?
I'm not able to share the screen.
Just a minute. I will make you the first. Daniel, can you make Minakshi ma'am the co-host, because I'm not the host right now.
Okay.
Ma'am, she's already a co.
Minakshi ma'am, please try one.
Okay. Can you able to see this, please? Can you just tell me?
Yes.
Are you able to see? Oh,
Yes,
okay, fantastic, fantastic. So I've made a small PPT, and I hope that I end up within 5 minutes of time what I have got. So please do bear with me today. So here is a small presentation. It's a very simple one. It's not advanced as Dr. Aruna what she said and Dr. Seema Neki whatever they have said. It's very much, to the advanced level. This is very on a simple level. What is emotional quotient and what is emotional intelligence? It's on the basic thing. So what is emotional intelligence? Oh, that's the first thing. So that is the first thing what comes to our mind. What is EQ? What is EI? To a layman's language when we go to a normal layman. So what is that? So it's your ability to recognize and understand emotions in yourself and others, and your ability to use awareness to manage your behavior and relationships. It's as simple as that. So we need to see in ourselves and recognize and understand and be aware what is happening. That is what we need to see. It's a small thing. Emotional intelligence is the other kind of being smart. This is what I personally believe that. So what's the difference between EQ and IQ? So there are, intelligence quotient IQ and emotional intelligence or EQ is the same. So what is the difference? That is the second question that comes to our mind. So IQ is a core, derived from the standardized test that we, do and design the measure of the intelligence. So IQ relates, this is very basic. So IQ relates to the, intellectual abilities that we have, like how will you learn, understand, and apply the information in our day-to-day life. So people with higher level of IQs can, think abstractly and make mental connections more easily. Coming to EQ or EI is using your emotions to think and enhance your reasoning skills. So most of the skills were being covered by Dr. Aruna. So here again, I was like, I already mentioned in the slide. So I was thinking when she was explaining, oh my God, she has already explained all the different skills. So but here a simple one, like how you use your, EQ or EI as a skill in your reasoning. So basic is your reasoning to enhance your, reasoning skills. Those with, high of EI or EQ are able to, manage your emotions, to facilitate their thinking and understand their emotions, and especially the others' emotions too. So when you are in a position, when you are standing in a position, you're definitely your EQ or EI is to the higher level than the others. Here is a key part that the whole person, that what I believe it is. We are a combination of IQ and EQ. That is our personality. So what is IQ? That what you bring to your work. What is your, personality? This is how you are at your work. So we have different, personalities at home, at work. So when we go to work, this is what your IQ comes in front of you. That is the mask that comes in front of you when you are at your workplace. So what is your EQ? How you make the most of both, that this IQ and your personality, expert and, utilize it at your work. That is how you combine. Like Dr. Aruna said, it's your heart and your brain. You're working together to be a good person. So that is what it comes out to your personality. Now, why it is used? So it comes because of the self-awareness, motivation, empathy, social skills. As all the skills have been covered, that's what is emotional intelligence is of self-regulation. So why is EI the strongest, predictor at workplace performance? That we need to question ourselves. The answer is we have to have self-awareness, motivation, empathy. Empathy, as Pooja ma'am said, that is what I seriously believe we don't have in today's world. Forget about sympathy. We don't have empathy. We need empathy. If somebody is coming or sharing something, we don't even have empathy to listen to somebody and to realize sympathy is far away from that thing where we take out our feet from our shoes and put our feet into their shoes and understand their pain and come to a solution, or at least have a listening ear. That's very far, but we need to have an empathy towards others. Then only, as you said, Pooja ma'am, if we have those things, we can conquer the world. Our world is our own body, our own mind. If we conquer that, we conquer the entire thing. And I agree with that. Seriously, that is what we need to conquer ourselves. It's very well. Again, I'm quoting Dr. Seema Negin, ma'am. She said it's like it's mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. It's an indriya. We have to hold it together. That is all which we have. We have to hold all our senses together to come to a level where we understand, empathize with others, then to understand and present other things, or to sympathize with others. Now, coming to the second point, 90% of the top performers have high level of emotional intelligence. People with average IQ outperforms those with highest of IQs in 70s of that time. This is what the survey says. So here is like the decades of search now point to EI as being the critical factor that sets performs apart from the rest of the pack. So we need to decide where we are standing. We are standing in IQ or we are standing in EQ. But to me, it's both combination. Without that, we don't work together. So please emphasize on self-awareness, motivation, empathy, social skills, and self-regulation. If you have everything but not self-regulation, nothing is going to work out. So we need to think on that. This is again to the neurological way, where the subconscious to conscious thoughts, what we have to we think on that. So what is it is what really separates us from animals is that we can lengthen and the space between the stimulus and the responsive. Animal can receive and stimuli and automatically generate a response. This is why many species can survive on their own. Immediately after birth, acting, we have seen many of the species animals can do. What about humans then? Humans can, lengthen the space between the stimuli and the response and choose the response. This is what the difference is between animals and the humans. And emotional intelligence, person can space between stimuli and response to make more effective choices. We can make choices. Animals, that is why animals and humans are different. But here I have mentioned a small picture of neuro where it is mentioned very clearly. What happens here is heart rate, breathing. If you can go to the picture, it's very much mentioned in a very precise way, where heart rate, breathing, balance, competitive behavior, limbic brain. What is importance of limbic brain? Then what is the neurocortex? What is that? What happens when we hear language, abstract thoughts, imagination? All this are emotions that are driving force behind the decision making process. And that is what it is. When we are emotionally strong, then only we can decide. And it's mentioned in Gita also, when you are angry, don't make decision. When you are happy, don't promise something. So that is what it affects. This is the same thing, what I have tried to mention here. The next thing is increase your emotional quotient, or EI. So research has shown that people improve their EI most when they are following the following conditions. There are three following conditions. First is they have strong motivation to learn or to change. Maximally, we have a huge ego, so we don't. That brings us, a little behind. So we don't want to change, or either we don't want to learn. Oh my God, I am this, I am that. So when we look into that ego, we don't learn, we don't change. So we are there again, 2.0. The second point is they practice new behavior constantly. So if I am learning now, I have learned so much. If I'm practicing in my life and bringing that change, that constant change is EQ and EI, that is I'm bringing in myself. So that is change in myself and my surrounding, my aura. I am definitely changing, and that is change in my behavior. So when I'm bringing that change in my behavior, my EQ and IQ both are on the strongest level, and definitely when both are on the peak level, my performance will be definitely 220%, not even 100%. The last point is they seek feedback on how they about their own behavior. So if I am doing any presentation or something, or I am into some class, I'm taking some class as an educator. After the class, I would like to know how was my class? How did I perform? Did I perform nicely, or this is something that where I have lacked? Do you want me to improve somewhere? So when we question ourselves, when we see our own defaults, that is when we grow. So again, we come to the same point. We There is no learning, there is no change. So how to develop an AI? Define who you are. There are a few points I mentioned. Define what you want to be. Seek a feedback. Identify behaviors you want to keep. Identify behaviors you want to develop. So this is what you need to have a small diary and remind yourself on that. Experiment with new behaviors. Nothing wrong in it. And please, I quote, not the wrong behaviors. It should be the right positive behaviors, which brings positivity in you and your circle wherever you are working. The seventh one is reflect on the outcome. So it is a change process. How is your behavior? So what will be your outcome? So whenever we speak, it is always said, by old elders, think and speak. So why did they say that? Because when that represents our behavior. So we think we need to evaluate and we have to speak up. That is what we need to think. If I say this, what will be the outcome? How will my teachers react? How will my staff react? Will they work together, because everybody is different? Will they come together as a team and work with me? So what will be the outcome? If I'm rude, if I'm not listening, if I don't have empathy, so we need to think, and we need to think on that. How will be the outcome? The last is practice the new behavior. So when we practice a lot. Practice makes you not perfect. Nobody is going to be perfect in this world, but you will be somewhere to near to perfection. You will be at least a role model for somebody, and you will be, a human. To be very frank, than to be as a person, you'll be a human. So be human in that way. The last is action plan. So what is the action plan on this? So pick an AI skills, like we have, a very good speakers, which we have mentioned already what are all the skills, and they have spoken in depth about the skills. So we need to pick up any skills that we need to work on first. That is number one. Number two is pick three strategies to begin using your chosen skills. So what skills you need to emphasize on? So that is what you need to have, the three strategies. If it doesn't work, that plan A, plan B, plan C. So you need to be ready with that. Number three is choose an EI mentor. So you cannot be your own mentor. You have to keep a mentor. So why a mentor? Because that will guide you. Whether you're doing it correctly, you are lacking somewhere, or you need a help. Because here, why I've mentioned this here, we don't ask for help. We feel like we'll be small in asking help. We have that ego of asking. Why to ask? अरे यार मैं बोलूंगा तो ये how what will they think of me? But we need to ask help. That is it okay? Am I doing? Can you help me out with that? Fourth is keep the following in mind as you apply. Accept success, not perfection. As I said, nobody is going to be perfect end of the world. So we have to accept the success. Yes, we are going to succeed in some way or the other if we are working hard on it, but we are not going to be perfect. We have to keep that thing in mind. Second is practice, practice, and practice. That is what it leads to, to your action plan, to your goal. Third is to be patient. That is what we need. We are impatient in today's world, in this fast life. We are very impatient. We want things to be on our fingertips. Go fast, do it now. It's not going to happen. It's not a wand that you keep it on yourself and you are done. No, you need to give yourself at least some time where you have an action plan, and you see after 15 days, give it for 15 days, then you go for 1 year, 1 month and 1 year. So you'll see when you look back, you'll be like, okay, I was there, and maintain a diary, and you can, note down your points. This is what I started with. It's 15 days. I have changed. There will be change, definitely. You have to work on it. And then the last is measure your progress. So this is how you have to count on this. The last thing which I want to say, and I want to quote from Dr. Travis and Dr. Jane here, in order to be successful and fulfilled nowadays, you must learn to maximize your EQ skills. For those who blend reasons and feeling achieve the greatest results. So here is me, and I would like to thank you for being very patient. And Pooja ma'am, please guide me how to stop. Okay.
There's a button, ma'am. You can
Yes,
just click. Yeah.
I hope I have that. So thank you very much, everybody, for being patient and listening to me. And thank you again, IDYM, for giving me an opportunity to share my point of views on emotional quotients. Thank you so much, Pooja ma'am.
Thank you, Meenakshi ma'am. We really appreciate your structured approach towards such a wide topic with such a fantastic takeaways, the action plan, the feedback that we need to be a learner, we need to practice a lot, we need to take the feedback if we are doing something, we need to be human, we need to plan an action that what we need to learn a new skill, we need to develop this kind of attitude that we are a universal learner, learning never stops. I would rightly agree with you that self-regulation, the five component of emotional intelligence which you have just mentioned, is essential. And I think these are the things which we need to keep on remind repetition. That as you have mentioned, the repetition is very much needed. While we are having a group discussion among your friends, sometime when we talk about more of mindfulness or more of meditation, then they will say, "Why you are always into this?" But it is the need of the hour because in such a materialistic world when we are so much busy we need that kind that we need to have control over our emotions as Aruna ma'am have also mentioned that emotional intelligence is mind heart and hand and emotional quotient is heart we need to have a and they go hand in hand we need to have a balance in that the ego word which you have just mentioned Meenakshi ma'am really ego is the cause of all sufferings if we talk about the family if we talk about the friends this ego is always there so we need to be humble we need to be polite in our conversations mutual respect and effective communications are the key for emotional intelligence to work very wisely thank you so much Meenakshi ma'am uh, Meenakshi ma'am can you click again on the stop button stop screen share
I've done okay. I've done that. Please just check.
uh,
Stop share.
yeah
Now
yeah
okay.
now it's done yeah
All
now
right.
it's done yes
Thank you.
yes yes
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
uh, Now, I would like to call upon Laura, ma'am. I welcome Laura, ma'am. She is a teacher at Superior School of Commerce, Nicolae Trusses from Romania. She is a translator, author of books, coordinator, and a participant in the national and international projects and competition. She's a speaker and a moderator, has been a moderator in very international conference and events, and we have shared the stage too. She has been an SDG ambassador, global. She has been awarded a Global Educationist Award. She has been a director of Europe of IDYM. She's a deputy director of IIU Romania, and she has been published. Her book has been published in so many publications like international publishers like Bahad International and she has been a brand ambassador of it. I welcome Laura, ma'am.
Greetings, everyone. Thank you for the lovely introduction. It is a great honor and pleasure to be here among so many distinguished guests. And thank you, IDYM, for giving me this lovely opportunity. And thank you for allowing me to share my views on emotional intelligence. Because it is more and more part of our daily lives, and it is really important that we become aware of its impact. As the speakers before me said, emotional intelligence, otherwise known as emotional quotient or EQ, is the ability to understand, use, and manage your own emotions in positive ways, to relieve stress, communicate effectively, empathize with others, overcome challenges, and diffuse conflict. Emotional intelligence helps you build stronger relationships, succeed at school and work, and achieve your career and personal goals. It can also help you to connect with your feelings, turn intention into action, and make informed decisions about what matters most to you. Emotional intelligence is a skill that refers to one's ability to understand, process, and express one's feelings, as well as recognize and be able to engage with the feelings of others. Emotional intelligence affects us in many ways. One of the ways is your performance at school or at work, because high emotional intelligence can help you deal with complex situations. And for students, for example, it can mean the difference between success and failure. Emotional intelligence affects our physical health because uncontrolled stress raises blood pressure and suppresses the immune system, increasing the risk of heart attacks or strokes. And it also speeds up the aging process. So the first step to improving emotional intelligence is to learn how to manage your emotions and how to manage stress. Of course, the most affected is mental health, because the emotions that we cannot control can impact our mental health, making a person vulnerable to anxiety and depression. Our relationships are deeply affected by emotional intelligence because being in tune with your emotions serves a social purpose, connecting us to other people and the world around us. And social intelligence enables us to recognize a real friend and measure another person's interest in us. And it helps us to create bonds and to see how we can relate to others. Here I'm going to share my opinion as a teacher, as an educator, because there are some basic skills of emotionally intelligent teachers that can have an impact on the teaching process. Self-knowledge, knowing one's own emotions and the relationship they have with our thoughts and action, will allow us to be more self-aware. Emotional control allows us to dominate the impulsiveness that may arise in stressful or chaotic classroom situations. Ability to motivate helps teachers understand how to motivate themselves and this allows them to motivate their students in turn. Empathy helps teachers communicate with students and understand them, because maybe that student who doesn't open their book in class is in the middle of their parents' divorce or has other problems and they don't pay much attention to the class, but this doesn't mean that we shouldn't pay attention to them. Maybe we should just try to open the door of their souls and look inside. Social and leadership skills make it possible to interact in effective ways with the students and to do so without losing our authority as teachers. There are many activities that teachers can do to help students develop their emotional intelligence. For example, emotional intelligence games that help students develop empathy through illustrations of social situations that show complex emotions. Problem-solving games. For example, a teacher can present a situation and then, by guiding students to take deep breath and to calm themselves, allow them to think of plans and then try them out. The best solutions come to us when we are in a state of relaxation. And this is what teachers need to do, to guide their students to manage their emotion in order to think of the best situation, the best solutions for their problems. Teachers sometimes use role play to allow students to recognize their feelings and emotions and how they are shown, and not only by the things we say, but also by the ones we don't say. And these emotions need to be labeled. We need to know what they are called and how to identify them. Sometimes students need to express these emotions, but it's very difficult for them to do so with words. So we can help them to express their emotions through another form, for example, through art or other personal skills that they possess. Sometimes it helps them to relieve stress. It helps them to get in touch with their true emotions by giving them a shape through drawings, through paintings, through poetry, for example. It's very important to understand different cultures and how each person reacts to a stressful situation, for example, how they express their joy, how they express their feelings, because there might be cultural differences that students need to be aware of. Another thing that helps students is to encourage them to be good listeners and listen not only with their ears, but also with their hearts, to try to open their souls to the person they are talking to. And we need to teach them to congratulate, to appreciate the person, the people around them, to appreciate everyone and try to be as kind as possible. So, in my opinion, emotional intelligence means being empathic, trying to understand the others, means motivation, trying to motivate the students, the others around, to show their feelings, to express their feelings, and to understand other people's feelings. It means being open-minded, tolerant, inspiring to others. Means being optimistic, listening to non-verbal signals, because what we express is not only with our words, but also with the things we do not say. It means to be aware, awareness about everything that is around, and always learn. Being a learner helps you develop your emotional intelligence. Always learn new skills. And if you can be anything in the world, be kind. Thank you so much for your attention. And thank you, Idym, for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Laura ma'am, for exploring this topic in terms of students, as an educator, as a teacher, what we can do, the small activities you have just mentioned, like we can have problem solving games, we can have role play, we can ask our students to express their emotions through arts, through poetry. We can teach our students that how to appreciate the other person. And I think this is, again, I would mention that this is a very, very important point, which again we need to inculcate in our children as well as in our students. The abbreviation which you have elaborated very well, ma'am, we should be empathetic, we should be a motivator, we should be open minded, we should be tolerant, inspiring, optimistic, we should listen to the non-verbal signals, and awareness about everything. And the learner, we are again a universal learner, I would mention again. And the last quote which you have said, that we need to be very kind, we need to empathize with everyone, we need to give a hearing ear to everyone. Thank you, Laura ma'am. It was pleasure listening to you.
Thank you
Moving
so
ahead
much.
with our next speaker of today's, I would like to welcome a person who believes that a smooth sea never made a skillful sailor. There are ups and downs in life. One must learn how to turn weakness into strength, negativity to positivity, and dull moments to bright. I welcome Harini ma'am. She believes that a student can be made a student, that she has encouraged women to honor their natal charts, feminine energy, and inherent wisdom while keeping it positive, relevant, and inspiring. I think, ma'am, today's topic is very near to your heart, and we'd love to listen to you. She has been into training programs. She has empowered teachers to become great leaders. She has created webinars on self awareness. She has empowered people from all walks of life and guided women in identify their inner strength and help them to conquer their fears and perceive barriers that hold them back. I welcome you, ma'am, and I would like to mention your quote: "An investment in knowledge pays the best interest." I'm over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. And people who have spoken before me, Aruna ma'am, Meenakshi ma'am, and especially Lara, you have set the tone for me to pitch in, because I'm going to jump deep dive in emotional intelligence for educators. Thanks, Lara, for doing that. I was so happy as educators. Bringing emotional intelligence to educators is one of the crucial aspects because we are building the leaders who are going to rule the world tomorrow. So, as Laura has explained lots about how a teacher has to be in the classroom, and before the speakers or before me have spoken a lot about what is EI, I would like to directly jump in here, say that we can achieve our goals through the emotional intelligence. Actually, that's whatever, if your emotional intelligence is very strong, then attaining both the personal and professional goals in our relationships and in the career aspect, it's going to be very easy. And as an emotional leader, when we talk about emotional intelligence for educators, we become an emotionally intelligent person where we are going to lead the team, though we are in the career aspect as an educator, as a principal, as a chairman, dean, whoever. We are going to lead the team in an highly emotional intelligence manner and influence our followers and inspire them. So why teachers need it? They have to be mindful of the students' emotions in the classroom and helping the children to regulate their own emotions and resolving the interpersonal conflicts and contribute to the students' emotional and social development. So when teachers have high emotional intelligence, they become intentional reflective. They are not reactive. They choose to play the game, and they are more flexible and not resistant to change. Especially in this pandemic, the teachers had to go through online mode of teaching. They have to learn how to open a laptop, get into the Zoom calls. Lot of learning have been there, unless if you're emotionally intelligent or if you're open up, as Lara said, open-minded is what more important. And as we also know, an assertive communication is more important as an emotional leader. And those who are keen on building their skills and positive habits will be a strong emotional leader, basically. And some of the benefits which we all know as an emotional intelligence, while we develop, what will do to us is it will strengthen our resilience, and also it supports our well-being. Many of us have a lot of acidity issues, this, etc., joint pain, back pain, but it all comes up bottled up and pent up emotions which has not released the way or not open to understand what is deeper beneath the emotions at the ice level. There might be something deep. So when the moment it goes to this awareness, self-awareness, yeah, we all know this is one of the component as defined by Daniel Goleman. So the moment you become more self-aware, which was spoken by Meenakshi ma'am, that we move to a choice point. Yes, exactly. We move to a choice point, and there we are free to take our own decisions and freedom and flexibility which we have. And we started to respond rather than react when we reach the choice point. So we know what to react for, what to give our energy for, and what not to claim the blame game or the drama game, where the people either blame others or become a victim of the situation and events. And generally what we see is what you do is what makes you happy. It's what not happens around you is what the results shows. It's what this researchers shows. So we all say it comes from genetics. It comes from the circumstances. No, most of the predominantly, it depends on the actions we take every day as a behavior. And going to this, I'm going to share a very, very interesting fact. What you're seeing on the screen are people from South Africa. They are tribal peoples. The specialty about these peoples is these people know 20 shades of green. They can identify different colors for the same green. They say this green, that green, yellowish green, sea green, all different. But they don't know to tell a word blue. They don't know the color blue. They even say blue as some part of a green or something else. They don't know the color blue exists. What does this mean? When we don't have words for something, we don't know whether that exists or we don't see certain things. Same way, when it comes to the emotional intelligence, when we don't see what is the emotions in us, we ignore them, we try to bury under us, and we misidentify them. Sometimes we might be very, very angry, but we think we are really frightened, or we are really frightened. I think that I'm angry. No, I'm not angry, I'm frightened. Of course, it all stacks up the emotions, but the underlying emotion is what we have to look. Once you understand this kind of emotions running through us, then who comes the part of the self-management as an educator or as an individual for that matter. When we come to the self-management, being an educator in the classroom, it is more important to manage our emotions, no matter what is happening outside the door of the classroom cannot be taken inside to the room. You have to practice dissociation, right? You have to practice dissociation, which was shared by ma'am from the quotes of Bhagavad Gita. Dissociation, the moment we have to practice dissociate, coming out of the room, getting inside the room, coming back to the home, taking in the role. So those kinds of things has to be there without carrying burdens. The moment you come to the self-regulation part, self-control part, we are in a much responsible position to teach this to the students in the classroom, where we have to teach them the delayed gratification, which is more important, and the empathy skills, which was also said by ma'am. So people use marshmallows test in US and UK, but as which suits for the Indian classrooms, we have to identify the ways to teach the delayed gratification, which will give a lot of patience for long-term benefits and success in the student's mind. And by the way, we will also teach the perseverance skills end of the day. So empathy, as an educator, empathy in the classroom and building empathy-based classroom is more important. And yes, this was also said by Lara, practice new behavior and unlearn and relearn to build your emotional intelligence where you want to improve. And finally, towards, if you sit and think, what could be the reason for stress? Work, job security, interpersonal demands, relationship issues, role conflict, and role ambiguity. Role conflict and role ambiguity is where the roles of the person are not understood properly. And especially in an organization, they say, why should I do the work of the other person? This is not my work. So you have to understand what is your role and try to avoid the conflicts and the role ambiguity. Here, if you want to avoid many of this stress, the most important thing as an educator is to align your vision and mission to the organizational vision and mission. You have to understand what is your organizational vision and mission and try to align that off with yours. Otherwise, it is not able, you feel difficult, you feel struggling to fit into your education institution. So once this is clear, before you apply for any job or you want to take up a new role as an educator, you understand, get clear with what is the vision and the mission that the organization is trying to show or put, then you will be able to understand why they are taking certain steps in terms of classrooms, in terms of college, in terms of all the rules across. And finally, accept and adapt to the continuous change, which we all educators have been taught or compelled to do during this pandemic in the last few years. So as a teacher, you have to time for you to grow as a coach now. You have to grow as a coach, break your goals into small, understand the reality of situation, and there are lots of options available how to make your goals achievable, and the will to act upon your goals is a must. So when you become a leader with a high IQ in your classrooms, you will create a positive work climate and you will manage the conflicts very effectively within your colleagues, within your peers, and also manage and help children to understand and reduce the level of conflict in the classrooms. and shared understanding of the goals of the organization, of yours and of the students, which trying to put everything in an alignment, and voicing of concerns and issues which is not addressed for the educators in an organization, and the right process to approach. So when we come again, there were lots of ideas shared by Laura, and one of else more, what I would say, write all your worries or your anger in a paper and tear it out, or put it in the fire or flash it out. This is one of the best way to put your things from the mental to the paper, where it goes from here to the paper and lot of things goes away into the garbage and dustbin. Regular practice of apologies, asking, we say thank you, but how many say time we go and purposefully say sorry and please forgive me? Even I understand our ego comes in the front, it stops us, but at least when you are doing mindful practices, sit in the meditation state and try to ask the apologies to the soul whom you think that you have hurted by knowingly or unknowingly. And of course, yoga and meditations. And so what you're seeing in my back is one of the mandala arts, which will also help you to reduce. That's done by my daughter, by the way. So there are various ways we have to find out how to keep yourself. And that doesn't happen for one day. It has to be a regular practice of saying yourself positive affirmations, improving your self-esteem, and keeping your day productive and very, very, very transformative, and thinking how you are growing, moving towards the growth. And all this has to work from the space of gratitude mindset. If you're not in that state, then the root has to be strong to develop the emotional intelligence. And the only way is gratitude and compassion and empathy. So going towards that with the daily rituals you have to practice. Physical activity reduces your stress. How much our emotion, because you cannot control your mind. We all know that. But the way to conquer our mind is through the body and sleep, which we all compromise today. So these are the small things, but it makes matters a lot in terms of emotional intelligence as an educator, which you want to bring a revolution in the classroom, build on high emotional intelligence. So thank you so much for this opportunity. Hope I could share a few points, and thanks Idym for this wonderful space. And glad to be with the great speakers here.
Thank you so much, Harini ma'am, for your enlightening and inspiring presentation for all educators. And I absolutely agree with you that we need to understand our mission and as a vision, accept and adapt to continuous change. We need to be acknowledged. We need to be grateful for small things in our life. We need to practice meditation for the clarity of thoughts. We need to respond rather than react. I think these are the stepping stones for having a good mindset, for getting be about all those pains, all those sufferings. And we should affirm to ourselves. We should never say that this we can't do this. We should say I am. I am. I think this is a word we all should follow up in our day-to-day life. And just I'm giving my example. I've been following it. I've been writing the journal. We need to write the journal for having control over emotions. As the one activity you just mentioned, that if you're angry on someone or you're having a negative thought, you just write it down and just burn it. It really works. I have applied to me, and it really works. Everyone who are present here, there is a phase that we have both the kinds of emotions. So if sometimes there's nobody to speak about, there's nobody to who can listen to us, I think these are the ways we can which can help us to be free from those negative emotions. And I think we should keep repeating to ourselves that I am happy soul, I'm a blissful soul. And these words will really make, these are the miracles which I have seen in my life. We need to change our aura, we need to change our surrounding by our own emotions. Thank you so much, Harini man, for giving an insightful about those mindful activities. Now, moving ahead with our next speaker, and I would like to hand over the proceedings of the next session to my co-moderator, Fatma. Fatma?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Over to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Good evening. Namaskar, everyone. I would like next as a next speaker, I would like to call Dr. Deepali Shirgave, ma'am. She is a principal of Aditya English Medium School, Pune. She is an educator with over 14 years of experience in field of education. Apart from this, she has completed certificate program in counselor training, diploma in Yoga Shastra, and Akhil Bhartiya Gandharva Mahavidyalaya in Praviksha Pratham. Many of achievements of her, she has received awards like Nari to Narayani, Indian Humanitarian Award, Principal of the Year Award, EduRock Best CCA School Award, Best Educator Nalanda, the Pride of Education Award. Many of things belongs to her, ma'am. Belongs to ma'am, and I'm very happy to share your profile. Now, I would like to invite you kindly speak about emotional intelligence, and stage is all yours.
Thank you so much, ma'am. First of all, I would like to thank you to IDYM team and Mr. Ravi sir to giving me this opportunity. Fatima, I want to share my screen.
Sure, ma'am.
Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, today's most of the speakers have spoken about the emotional intelligence. As Harini ma'am has already, she has defined what is mean by emotional intelligence. It is the ability to identify our own emotions and those of others, to self-motivate ourselves and know how to monitor our emotions and those of the other people around us. Most people believe that success in life is directly correlated to their intelligence level. Is that true? No. We actually need emotional intelligence in order to be able to harness the most of our new intellectual horsepower. Now, according to Daniel Goleman, an American psychologist who helped to popularize emotional intelligence, there are 5 key elements: self-awareness, self-regulations, motivation, empathy, and social skills. One by one, we are going to see. First is self-awareness. Self-awareness is also called metacognition, the ability to read and understand your emotions as well as recognize their impact on work, performance, relationship, and the like. Being aware of the both our mood and our thoughts about that mood. Means here self-awareness means being aware of both our mood and our thoughts about that mood. It's our ability to notice your feelings, your physical sensations, your reactions, your habits, your behavior, and your thoughts. And self awareness is about being honest with yourself. It is very important. Self awareness is about focusing on the reality of your behavior and not on the story you tell yourself about yourself. Now we will see how to improve your self-awareness. There are the few points. First, seek out new experiences. One of the best self-awareness is to immerse yourself in the self-experiences, new experiences, and ask your colleagues for feedback about yourself and identify what triggers your negative emotions, and always question your opinions and beliefs. Get clear on your core values and daily write in a journal. Whatever the emotions you are getting, you have to write in a journal. Next, social awareness. Social awareness, skill at sensing other people's emotions, understanding their perspective, and taking an active interest in their concerns. In the social awareness, again, we are going to see there are main 3 factors. Understanding other emotions. It is very important You have to recognize and understand the meaning, function, and motivation behind others' emotional reactions and their responses. Express empathy, respect, and appreciating effectively. Here you have to see both verbally and non-verbally. Second point is responding to others who are distressed. Whenever you are working in an organization or in a school or in an office, we have to respond effectively to others who are emotionally upset or distressed. At minimum, you can avoid reactions that make a situation worse. Third one is being flexible and adaptable. That is very important. Use inclusive approachly by understanding others' unique attributes and differences, including diversity in the sense of age, gender, culture, health status, and including their mental health. Fourth point, self-regulation. Self-regulation means waiting for the right time and place to express your emotions. Self-regulation is all about expressing your emotions appropriately. Here, those who are skilled in self-regulations tend to be flexible and adapt well to change. They are also good at managing conflict and diffusing tense or difficult situations. Now, how to improve your self-regulations? I think Harini ma'am has explained you few points. Is how to improve your self-regulations. We'll see again few points. Always be mindful of your thoughts and feelings. That is very important. Build distress tolerance skills and find ways to manage difficult emotions. And always look at challenges as an opportunity. Don't ask why me. Whenever such kind of situation comes, don't ask yourself why me. Always you have to say, try me. Next point. Work on accepting your emotions. And there are the few ways we can manage your self-regulations, like yoga. We can do regular exercise and engage yourself in your hobbies like art and craft, dance, music, gardening, etc. Next important point is motivation. Being driven to pursue goals for personal reasons rather than for some kind of reward. It is another important emotional intelligence skill. People who are emotionally intelligent are motivated by things around external rewards like fame, money, recognition, and acclaim. Instead, they have a passion to fulfill their own inner needs and goals. Now, how to improve motivation? Always celebrate your results. Focus on setting small, measurable goals and introduce challenges to keep things interesting. Set goals to help behind intrinsic motivation. Now, very important element of this, empathy. Empathy allows you to understand the power dynamics that often influence social relationship, especially in workplace setting. And this is for guiding your interactions with different people you encounter each day. Here, as I said, you might treat them with the extra care and concern, or you might make an effort to buy their spirits. Now, how to build empathy? So be willing to share your own feelings, engage in a cause such as community project. You can listen to other people, practice loving kindness meditation, talk to new people, and try to imagine yourself in someone else's place. Remember, you are probably too hard on yourself, so accept your strengths and believe that you can develop and overcome your weaknesses. And as we all know, no one is perfect, not you, not them. So if you are prone to ants, get help to stop. So here you are a unique position to be a role model. Be courageous and committed to yourself. Assume good intent by default. You make your life harder if you jump into conclusions. Before concluding this presentation here, I would like to say one famous quote: no matter the situation, never let your emotions overpower your intelligence. So I hope I have presented my PPT and I have cleared my thoughts. So thank you
Yes.
once again, Ravi sir and IDY team. Over to
Thank you so
Fatima
much.
ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your such a wonderful, kind words. As you rightly said, success is not directly related to our emotional intelligence, and some points what you discussed with us, like that self awareness, self regulation. Social skill, empathy, and you rightly said that empathy is very important instead of that sympathy. And many points, whatever you have shared with us, which are very fruitful, and I'm very thankful. Okay, now moving ahead with the next speaker. I would like to call Mrs. Nirmala Devi, ma'am. She is from Malaysia. She is a teacher with 22 years of experience, English language subject, and she is an excellent educator of SK St. Patrick school, Microsoft Innovative Educator, and expert and master trainer. And she has coordinate many programs like Climate Action Project and Goals Project and Human Happiness Project in Southeast Asia. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Fatma Sogra ma'am. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Ravi Shankar ji from IDYM for always giving opportunities for educators and also myself. Well, thank you so much for educators who have presented so well. You have actually presented a lot of information, the insightful information about what is social emotional well-being is, and the literature reviews, and a lot of information you have presented. Thank you so much for that. And from the perspective view of a teacher, I would like to present some insightful information of my students from my own setting, where before the pandemic, all of us, we don't face much problems, especially because we were actually meeting our students physically in the classroom, and things were all right during the lessons. But during the pandemic, it was a great shock for all of us, including us in Malaysia, where we had to collaborate in many platforms online and get to pass the information about our teaching and get engage our learners in lessons and all that. But since I involved myself prior to the pandemic with technology, Microsoft technology, and the community, I started to use technology to engage my learners. But then it was so difficult to get the learners, especially my students, to join the classes on daily basis to learn English language. So I have to try a lot of ways for engaging them. So I was using platforms like Microsoft Teams, a lot of digital tools, and there are students who can't even join the online classes. So what do I have to do is that what I did was actually I created WhatsApp groups of my classes with the parents. But the parents were in the groups, but unfortunately, some of the students, they can't complete the work on time, or they can't submit the work because the parents, only they have one device at home. And then during that time, there were phases where none of the family members can go out. It is called lockdown period, due to control the spreading of this virus. But then after that, even though then the students were unable to join because of the internet connectivity problem, so they had a lot of problems, and the parents lost their jobs. So they were facing a lot of emotional problems at that time. So that was the time where I realized that as a teacher, teaching according to the syllabus to achieve the objectives is second matter. What matters most is that to enable the students to understand and overcome this kind of emotional breakdowns, depressions, So that was the time that, collaboratively in the school, we tried to offer help for them, for the students, in order to provide them free food, giving them this grocery stuff, and, providing more other help from the community and also from the school. But as a teacher, I need to do my teaching, regardless of what happens, I need to do my teaching. So due to that, I try my best to engage my learners. I had 90 students over these 2 years. So how do I engage my students? what do I do? Like what Laura ma'am and also I think teacher Harini, she spoke about teacher's perspective. We have to carry out a lot of different activities. Some students, they like cooking. Some students, they like to do carpentry work. Some students, they like origami. So all these are actually embedded in the textbook that we are using for English language. So being an educator teaching English language, I don't confine myself to the textbook, but I take information from the textbook, teach them the listening, speaking, reading, writing, grammar skills. But apart from that, I bring them across the world, meaning to say I engage my students these 2 years in many countries virtually, where my students get to present and they get to showcase whatever talents they have. So by doing that, what I noticed is that at least my students, they are very happy. They join the projects, and not all of them will join, but at least I try to engage as many as possible. So what I notice is that they need to be happy. So emotionally upset, it can cause a lot of depression for the students. So what I'm trying to say is that being an educator, we need to be tactful in what are their likes and help them in order to support them so that they will be able to come up not only in their studies, but also emotionally, they will be better. This is what I noticed during the pandemic. Now our school is open, so I noticed that the students are actually back to normal, but then we are still living with this virus. So they need time to learn some things, need time to learn the listening part, speaking, reading, writing, grammar, and even the examination papers that we give. Also, some students were staring, some they do not understand the instructions, so they were finding it tough to even do to answer the questions. So being a teacher, I need to be very patient with them, so they need to not only have the cognitive, but emotionally they were down. So we need to do a lot of activities for them to lift them up in order to make sure that they are also able to participate as much as they can in studies. Like what some of you suggested, that doing yoga and all that. So yes, we conduct many lessons in order to help them in sports, so that they are able to not only focus in studies, but also in sports activities, which will be helpful for them. Because students, I noticed that once they have this physical education lessons in the classroom, in the school, they are very excited. They'll be waiting, for us to finish the lesson so that they can go to the field and they can be very happy. So they are able to associate with the friends. Because during the lockdown, they were in depression, they were in isolation, they were not able to talk to their friends, able to play with their friends and share the little stories with their friends, So this kind of thing, they were deprived during the pandemic. So once they're back to school, they treasure, all these, they're socializing with their friends, and talking with their friends, doing group work, as long as they get to talk to their friends and doing some work. So I have a video, just about 2 minutes. I would like to share to show that what were the engagements that I did, and really give a lot of impacts in my teaching as well as my students' emotion. Most importantly, I want my students to be happy, and from the perspective of the teacher, this is what I usually do. And the rest of the educators, you have shared a lot of information, whatever in the literature review and the insightful information. So may I share the screen to show? Just hang on, yeah? I'm just going to share the screen. Okay, you can see my screen. Okay. So, Fatma, ma'am, can you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am. It's visible.
Is visible. The video is visible. Can you hear
Yes,
as well?
audible
It's now the
also,
sound?
ma'am.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
That's all from me. And thank you so much for the rest of the educators for, actually sharing the insightful information about emotional intelligence. And I speak about from the perspective of a teacher and my students' engagement during the pandemic. And it is a wonderful experience to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. This is a really good identification, true identification of a teacher who is setting example and giving such a good task to their students that they can engage in that task. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your such a wonderful video and your words. Now, moving ahead to next speaker. I would like to call Melisha Espito, ma'am. She's from Italy. She's a renowned educationist and she is very experienced and she is a recipient of many awards. So, stage is all yours, ma'am. Kindly over to you.
Okay. Good evening. I want to share my screen. I thank you for the great opportunity you are giving me to be here and to speak about the importance of emotional intelligence. And I'll speak about the importance of emotional intelligence in the workplace. This is my presentation. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand and manage your emotions. The skills involved in emotional intelligence are self-awareness, self-control, motivation, empathy, and social skills. It has recently become a trending term within human resources departments around the world, but researchers are starting to raise the issue for it to be really taken seriously. Embracing the nuances of human emotion in the workplace can have real benefits, according to Rex Apke, better employee in collaboration in a happier work environment. His thesis concludes by confirming that we are human beings every day, not just when we leave the office. How can emotional intelligence help us? Daniel Goleman, a world-renowned behavioral scientist, argues that the part of the brain related to emotional and social intelligence is the last circuit of the brain to become anatomically mature. Due to neuroplasticity, the brain models itself according to the repeated experience. Goleman goes on to say that emotional intelligence should be taught systematically to all people of childhood. This has been tested in over 100 schools, with a noticeable reduction in antisocial attitudes and an increase in prosocial behavior. It is therefore evident that emotional intelligence is beneficial both on and outside the workplace. Coping with our emotions. The unfortunate trend that has overall made especially Western society is the ability to fully understand and deal with the human emotions. This trend has spilled over into other areas of life, including the workplace. Emotions are often left out of the workplace. When you reach the office, and this is as devastating effects on both businesses and their employers by involving all the line for employers to the CEO. After all, we are emotional people. Companies that have grasped this message are starting to implement actions aimed at changing this trend by offering personalized working hours and new services in order to closely follow their people in the workplace. This includes the hiring of psychologists. What are the elements that make up emotional intelligence? First of all, self-awareness is the art of understanding yourself, knowing your weaknesses, strengths, drivers, values, and impact we have on people, the ability for good intuition, essentially. Being emotionally self-aware leads you to plan time correctly and manage work qualitatively in advance of the deadlines. Self-management is the ability to control and redirect destructive impulses and bad moods. Think about reliability, integrity, and willingness to change. The passion for the work you do, the optimism and the energy to improve are the fundamental characteristics of an emotionally intelligent and motivated person. Empathy is understanding other people emotionally. This also means considering the feelings of others, especially when making important decisions. Empathy includes competence in hiring and retaining the best talent, the ability to evolve other people, and sensitivity to recognize cultural differences. Imagine a consultant and their team trying to attract a potential foreign client. For example, a Japanese client. After the first commercial approach, the customer becomes silent, and the team interprets this as a disapproval. The consultant, however, detects his interest due to the body language and fearless proceeds with the meeting and getting the job. This is a way of expressing empathy. Finally, social skills is building a relationships with others to lead them in desired directions. This is influencing. How to increase your emotional intelligence? Lucina Bowling, Page Group Talent Development Manager, supports the importance of being evaluated and open to self-evaluation. Ask for feedback from others. Be more self-reflective and honest with yourself. It is clear that we are all emotional intelligence, but we need to take more time to evaluate ourselves and work on our emotions. It takes practice, but even small steps can make a difference. And you need to work on your skills every day to improve. I have introduced the emotional intelligence into our training programs, she says, because when we convey this important information to our leaders, its effects will be noticeable throughout the structures. The goal is to build a happier team with a manager who understand their team better. It is nice to be a manager recognized by your resources, but it is essential to develop yourself to become a good leader. The top managers of some successful companies have higher levels of emotional intelligence. Women tend to have above average emotional empathy. It is easier for them to interpret different moments of people as well as the management of relationships between people and groups. From Goleman's point of view, in relationship between emotional intelligence and leadership, there are significant differences between men and women, but people have the possibility to constantly increase the skills in the areas they need. Does emotional intelligence make a difference in the workplace? We make emotionally important decisions every day. We rate plan A as better than plan B, and sometimes make choices based on our emotions or feelings. When we understand the origin and source of these emotions, especially when working as a team, we are more in tune with each other. With the combinations, emotional intelligence is more significant than ever, as the complexity of interactions and emotions has increased as well as the way they are expressed. In a sense, emotional intelligence in the workplace comes down to proper understanding, expression, and management of good relationships, as well as solving complex problems under pressure. Benefits of emotional intelligence at work. Gary Ukl, a leading researcher on leadership issues, argues that self-awareness makes it easier to understand one's needs and likely reactions if certain events have occurred, thus facilitating the evaluation of alternative solutions. Bolin argues instead the need to start with yourself. Management is not limited to one aspect. There are others to consider, but those who develop their own self-awareness will be able to manage others more effectively. Management, it does not necessarily mean leading others. Often, when someone is promoted, they think they should lead others, even if in reality it is the first and foremost acquiring the ability to be their own leader and what can only come with greater self-awareness. Managers needed to understand how to act in different situations. And this is why it is important to start with yourself to understand how to relate to others. What sets leaders apart is usually their level of emotional intelligence and all those skills that help develop a more effective workplace. My speech is ended. I excuse me for my voice because I have some problems, but I hope it has been
Thank you so
intense.
much, ma'am, for your such a wonderful points, whatever you have shared with us, like self-awareness, self-control, motivation, empathy, social skill, and you have already shared that brain models itself, according for the repeated experience, it is also important for emotional intelligence. N- Extremely thankful for your such a wonderful presentation, ma'am. Now moving ahead, I would like to call Dr. Dragon Giovanno, sir. He is a renowned educationist. He is one of the eminent soul who is setting example among us, and by doing different type of works. And he is a recipient of many awards. Now, stage is all yours, sir. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. I'm honored and pleasured to be at the conference. Thank you for inviting me, Mr. Ravi. I will be short. Emotional intelligence is the ability of a person to successfully identify and successfully with their own emotions and well as the emotions of other people. Our behavior is largely conditioned by our emotion. So it is understandable how this type of intelligence plays an important role in every aspect of functioning, while at the same time being one of the most important factor that improve the change of success where needed. Emotional intelligence brings with the self-awareness. This is the basis of on which it can develop it and grow. Self-awareness is the ability to recognize one's own feelings at the moment of their formation and should not be equated with awareness. Developing self-awareness involves developing introspective skills that would help in the so-called so-called self-talk. Thank you very much. I respect the time for all speakers. Greetings from Macedonia.
Thank you so much, sir, for your such a wonderful words. And to understanding each other, it is very important for everyone. Now, moving ahead, I would like to call next speaker, Dr. Madhvi.
Recording in progress.
Dr. Madhvi Bose. She is a founder of Edutainment Spoken English in a Smart Classes. She is an international speaker. She is author, PD mentor, professional online English coach, and motivational speaker. She is honored with many national and international awards, certificates, medal, and doctorates in various fields. And her biography has been also covered in various newspapers and media. So it's very proudly, I would like to call Dr. Madhvi Bose, ma'am. Stage is all yours. Kindly go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And it was really wonderful to listening all of you. And seriously, eternal gratitude to all of the excellency who has given me that amazing platform. And as usual, Ravi sir, Idym. It's really wonderfully going on. And I believe this is the time that we really need to know that emotional intelligence, because this is part of everyone's life. It's whether it's called professional, whether it's called personal. So I believe that all of us, already given a great examples and description about this. For me, I really heard a lot of inspirational people. So out of them, I think Shivani from Brahma Kumari, she's one of my favorite one that I hear her a lot. And ever I feel that that remote control, our emotions remote control is in our hand. Not like we are not a TV or any electronic device that somebody will click and make us happy, make us sad, make us upset. So we are the one who can control our all the emotions. Sometimes even I believe that we all are really amazingly doing this webinar. But out of this, before that, maybe possible 10 minutes ago, something might be happening in our life, but still with a complete smiling face and that whole enthusiasm, we are sitting over here and giving that all revert that response. So better we really all of us need to know that somewhere, because we react a lot, but before that reaction, I believe response should be there, because and immediately when we do it, so it's really come up with as in reaction. So a response is something which we can give it very nicely, and what we can do is that every night, which I feel and I do it, that we can check it out, that in whole day, what are the like reaction which I have given it, how I would have given it in the response, and next day I will do it to the same way. Sometimes when we can't even control our feelings, so we can take a break and then we can say, okay, we're gonna talk about it later, and then we can think and then we can respond. So this can be a great idea. Listening to other psychology always says that sometimes people don't want, like, just imagine Rachna ma'am is there and she is one of my very, very good friends. So now we are in the very much good talking terms. Right now she wants to talk, she wants to share something. So I'm telling you, in the 90% case, she doesn't want that I should advise her, suggest her, because she knows very well sometimes, like as all of us, we said that we should be self-motivated and make ourselves understand. So she knows everything what she has to do, but right now she is not into the zone to understand that. But right now she just want one thing: listen to me. That's it. So here psychologists say we just listen to them, that what others are saying, and later on they're really going to feel good, and automatically they will come up with the positive reward. Might be that would be my mistake. And if I come up with my ideas, or even my ideas are sometimes not positive, so it might create a great stress to her, that okay, yeah, you are right, but that person was wrong. Then the negativity will be more spreading, and she is not ready to listen right now positive also. So we have to think about it. So here it is the time to just listen sometimes. So it is, I believe that this should be there. See, outside whatever is happening, it is not in our control, but inner we have that control in ourselves. So that inner emotions we can absolutely control that. Yeah, okay, whatever somebody is reacting, whatever someone is doing, there's all their moral values, ethics, their behavior, and the chapter of life. Because sometimes we find good people also fighting, and sometimes we people, those people who are just very criminal, but they're in the very good mood, they come up with us. But it all depends on what the situation they are in, so they are just reacting in that way. Like we need to behave like a human beings, because screaming and I think using sometimes even hands and all, it's like a, because animals can't speak, so they use it. So but we know how to behave, we know how to control, we know how to behave as a human, so we can do in that way. So let's smile. Smiling is the one of the really best solution. So if something happens, and that is the best weapon, even I believe that somebody is just coming, in I believe that when it comes to emotional control and the it is something what I like find it for myself, that yeah, this is emotional intelligence we have learned in very small age, when our parents taught us jo bolta hai wahi hota hai, because they never want us to speak something bad from our mouth. No, they don't want us to abuse. We just need to understand, okay, whatever the other is speaking, let it be, it's okay. So let's do that. Again, the another thing, make ourselves understood as a child. When our children come to us, or come, they just say that today I'm not feeling good, mama, today we are not good feeling good, ma'am, sister, whatever. So what we do is, we very lovingly we teach them that it's okay, and then we understand them, and then we make. But for us, what we do, we just blame ourselves. I shouldn't have done this. They shouldn't have do this. So we are not, the way we are making understand someone else, we are not doing the same thing with us. So let's do. Similarly with others also, I believe that respect and love is has a very thin line. So when it comes to anybody, like just imagine Laura ma'am is there and I'm telling her something, so I should be very, with a whole love, I should tell her that what I feel and how she should go with that things. Because like why we do with our kids, because kids are like, they're so sensitive, they cry, but even every human being cry, but they can't show it. So they can show by the reaction, they can show by the upsetness, they can show by their anger. So they can't show. So it doesn't mean that we should behave in that way. We should behave. Let's take everyone as a child and behave so nicely that it's okay. Or how we behave with a child and a patient. So let's do it in that way. So might be we can behave very nicely. Expectation is I think one of the thing which really makes us react, because it's really come up with the poison tree. So it's just imagine Satapa ma'am is like one of my very good friend, and she comes to me and or I go to her. So she prepares a very nice food for me, so amazingly, and treated me wonderfully. Next time when she comes at my home, I'm not so good with the preparing food, and I don't like to prepare it. So might be I won't even ask her, and I could say that you must have had food today, right? So she'll be like, yeah, yeah. So simple. And another choice is that I just say, because she has also treated me in the same way, and with a very negative feeling, I should prepare the food. No, that should not be the thing. Might be possible. My next thing, what I can do is, we made in the shopping and I have gifted her a very beautiful sari. So this is my way to make, give her love and respect, because I like this thing. So it is all about that expectation really hurts, because everybody will give you something which they are capable to, not the same thing which we are giving. So we all have a different talent, energy, and something to give. So let's take it in that way. Being busy is a very good way to not overthinking. So let's be busy with all the beautiful things which we love it. Let's start our hobbies as well. I believe all of us have somewhere, left it. Maybe Rachna ma'am might be used to, play volleyball in her childhood, but no longer now. So let's start that, because some hobbies really gives, see, emotional intelligence is something we have to really understand deeply, that what we are actually not living, which we are having. Like, I love playing basketball and I still play it. And after playing, I don't be a state champion, but I feel so good. And that it really makes my mood, and it really makes that impact which I'm going to create, that aura, between the people. I see everybody has their own way to do it, but my way, like we said that, yeah, we should meditate it, we should do this, but my way, I believe we should divert ourselves. So let's divert ourselves, when instead of Netflix, let's go for hustle, fast food, proper diet, procrastination action, blaming responsibility, toxic friend mentor, complaining, let's cry, show the gratitude. So we can do some of the things. And when we feel angry, so let's divert ourselves for exercising. When we feel envy, so let's focus deeper. When we feel anxiety, be mindful. When we are irritated with something, so let's not react. When we are tired, go to bed and sleep. Let's not talk to somebody on that time. When we're inspired, take a shower. And whenever we are doubting, so let's have, create that self-respect in ourselves. And inhaling and exhaling is one of the very, I find that it really makes our emotional intelligence so strong. So what we can do is, Mr. Sandeep Maheshwari, which I heard very nicely, he said that we could go with, like, when we inhale, so we could say, I'm physically active, and when we exhale, we can say, I'm mentally relaxed. So this 2 minutes exercise, because we're charging laptop, cell phone, everything, all the electronic devices which we are having, but the most important thing which we are not charging, our mind, our brain, our soul. And let's charge it. Let's charge for 2 minutes in a day after 1 hour, so we can just take it out, that what is going in our mind, and all those little injury, whatever. So it's because we are human beings. It's okay to feeling upset. So when we are feeling upset, crying, or something is happening, so when we are focusing for 2 minutes to us, so we will make ourselves more understand. See, sometimes what happens, like like Fatma ma'am, now I'm looking at her. So the way she is, like she's smiling. So I'm loving it, right? So similarly, the face I'm liking it, she will also like in that way. She will also like to see me smiling. So what we can do is, for me, I'm a girl. Let me tell you, it's been months and months that I haven't even cried very well. But being a female, it's okay to be sensitive. But what I did with me, that whenever I used to cry or feel angry, I used to sit with the front of the mirror. And when I used to see myself as a crying, I was never liking myself. So like when I'm not liking myself, who is going to feel good by seeing? Might be they are going to feel so irritating. And when we are not liking ourselves crying, so how others are going to? And so in this way, we are going to do two things: whether we are going to stop it or whether we are going to do it that nicely. That how there are many of us that who cry so loud. We get angry so loud, but instead of that, we are going to change it in another way, that how people are going to love that response. So let's do that. Let's not again one of this emotional pain which we are creating in our office, outside, everywhere. It's called like holding that glass. Holding that glass for so longer is going to hold that pain for a lot of time. And when we leave that glass also after 1 2 hours, we will feel that it is still holded. So let's leave within some minute, and that we can do it by thinking about ourselves. So let's try to attract positive. And the last thing which I want to say, that let's plant positive, let's plant that positive tree. So how it gonna be? Just imagine, like Pooja ma'am, like we are both relatives. Now, sometimes what happens, whether we don't have any problem, but still we feel anxiety. And she might be feeling anxiety today. So because might be I'm giving a different aura, that I'm speaking something which is called as in misunderstanding, or how it is, like in the whole day. Now maybe she is doing 80% of the thing which is negative, but 20% at least positive. But I'm not focusing on 20%. I'm focusing on that 80% and talking about that thing again and again. So I'm planting the wrong tree. Let's talk which I want to increase. Let's talk all those things which is positive in that person. And that aura is really that vibrance, automatically that essence, or automatically she is going to get, and they must be changed. And then I'm going to appreciate her. Wow, Pooja ma'am, you smile amazingly. Wow, the way you inspire, that is something wonderful. It is going to encourage her in that way. If criticism might makes her more revolutionary, that no, I'm going to do that. Who is she to make me? So this is something which we need to understand, that how to handle it. So let's keep us smiling, have that positive essence, attract happiness. And I'm so much, feeling gratitude to God that giving the family like you and always having that aura in me, all because of you, Excellency. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such a wonderful word. And you rightly said that response is very important. And whatever we are doing every day, we have to check it once whether we are doing right or wrong. And as you said that everyone have their own way, and open-minded is more important than other thing. And you said that let's talk. We can let's make happy to others. We can relate this with IDYM. And to relate this thing, I would like to dedicate one quote to IDYM. मिलते तो बहुत लोग हैं जिंदगी की राहों में, मिलते तो बहुत लोग हैं जिंदगी की राहों में, मगर हर किसी में IDYM जैसी बात नहीं होती, IDYM जैसी बात नहीं होती। दिलों में विश्वास पैदा करता है, मन में आस पैदा करता है, दिलों में विश्वास पैदा करता है, मन में आस पैदा करता है। IDYM की तो बात ही कुछ अलग है। IDYM तो जिसमें देशभक्ति ना भी हो, उसमें देशभक्ति पैदा करता है। And I'm very proudly said that I am a member of IDYM. Now I would like to hand it over the session to Dr. Soji Gopal Krishnan Pillai, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Ms. Fatima, for the great moderation. I'm very happy to be with the great moderators, Dr. Pooja and Ms. Fatima. Good evening, everyone. We are towards the last session of this today's Seed Talk. So the last session we have five speakers. So they will be speaking as per this row. The first one is Dr. Ishtiaq Ahmad Sheikh, followed by Miss Sitapa Nandi, then Dr. Iman A. Alan, followed by Miss Manjoi Sharma Pathagiri, and the last speaker for that section will be Professor Ranjana Chakrabarti. So give a round of applause to all the speakers who are going to present us now. And it's a great evening. And I know all of us are sparing our time on a beautiful Sunday evening to participate in this great show. And I'd like to thank IDYM for this wonderful opportunity, and to Ravi Shankar sir for giving me opportunity to allow me to moderate this session. And over to the first speaker of this section, we have Dr. Ishtiaq Ahmad Sheikh. So, good evening to you, and let me introduce Dr. Ishtiaq Ahmad Sheikh. He is having 25 years of teaching experience, and he is a principal in various schools in Pune region. And along with that, being a school leader and educator, he has been playing the roles of teacher, trainer, and the motivational speaker. And his more achievements, if I could tell his achievement, it will be taking me another few more minutes. So received on an award of Best Principal for Science, Olympiad Foundation, Delhi, in the year 2016. Best Innovative Leader Award in 2019. Major Dhyan Chand, awarded the Major Dhyan Chand by Pimpri Chinchwad Cultural Department 2019. Then he has Shiksha Ratna Award in 2020. Best Principal Award. That's beautiful, sir. In 2020, Bangalore, Dr. PJ Abdul Kalam International Award of Excellence in 2021 by IDYM. That's superb. Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan International Equators Award in 2021. Shiksha Gaurav Puraskar by Pimpri Chinchwad, Pune, Maharashtra. Awarded the Nalanda, the Pride of Knowledge by IDM. Over to you, sir, for your presentation. We are eagerly waiting to see you, to hear from you, and the stage is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Joshi. It's Soji, sorry. Assalamu alaikum, good evening, and thank you very much for giving me the chance to speak to Mr. Ravi sir, the founder of IDYM, and the other members, the panelists, those who all are there. To be frank, let me tell you one thing here. To become the speaker towards the end of the session is little difficult, because already so many people have spoken about the subject and the topic which is given there. But still, I personally feel the topic which is given is emotional intelligence is really very good. Now, I would like to say something about this thing, that emotionally we are attached, we are very much close to each other, even though we have not met personally to each other, physically to each other. 2 years, long years have gone there in the corona, in the COVID-19. We were online. Till today, there are so many risks around, even though everything is open, everything is clear, and then still there are so many things. We are close, and uh, we are coming online and speaking about the emotional intelligence. I could say here exactly the first and the basic thing I would like to say, in the school, when I am a leader as a principal, when I speak something about that, emotionally, we have to be very much close to the children, attached to the children. The reason behind, till the time the children don't come emotionally to you, emotionally don't get attached to you, you won't be able to understand them, you won't be able to give them the knowledge what exactly you have with you. Emotionally, generally, sometimes when I go to the classes where the pre-primary kids are there, they have not seen me at all as a leader. But when I go to the classes, they realize that somebody has come. They try to call uncle, uncle, uncle. They don't call it me as sometimes as a sir, because they don't know I'm the principal of the school. They see that somebody is coming, the elderly person is coming to in the classes, and then even though the teacher says don't say uncle, he is our principal, he is our say sir. I do tell my teachers, do not let them do that. Like, for example, now the children want to say that, uncle, uncle, please come here, we will play there. I generally feel proud enough to say that the children are at least emotionally getting attached to me, and then I'm coming close to the children. The same way, IDYM started, I think, in the year 2020. Ravi sir, I went on repeatedly telling to Ravi sir many a times, ke akele chale the janibe manzil magar. I always tell him, this is the share, this is the two of the sentences I always go on telling to him, कि अकेले चले थे जानिबे मंजिल मगर हम जैसे लोग आते गए और कारवां बनता गया. There are so many people attached to IDYM emotionally, not physically. Physically, we haven't met each other. There are so many people right now in this session. Dr. Fatima ma'am, Dr. Negi, then Joshi ma'am is there, Rachna ma'am is there, and then Ravi sir is already there. Ravi sir, hats off to you that emotionally we got attached like anything from every angle. And then Dr. PK Rajput, even though right now he is not there in the session, I think he's there in Africa. From there, he might be listening to me. He's very close to my heart. Many times we have spoken. We never met each other. So again, I repeat, emotionally we are attached to each other. And based on that, I personally feel that emotionally intelligence is very important in the life of a human being. Till the time we don't get attached emotionally, we don't come to know each other easily. In the examination time, near the in the school also, it is not 100% clear, 100% sure that the children should be writing clearly so many things. Emotionally intelligence, they come close to the understanding part of the session, of the concept taught by the teachers. And even though they are not scoring so much, but they are very much good at their level to speak something or the other, and understand each other, and let it be not getting good marks there in their examination, not 100 out of 100, but they are very good at speaking, they are very good understanding, and then heartily they are very much to each other. That is what I call it as emotionally getting attached with each other. There are so many people now, right now, I think, if I am not wrong, somewhere close to 51 to 52 countries are getting attached, have already got attached to IDYM. Now IDYM also has got expanded his things in different levels. Now sir is coming up with the university, sir is coming up with the women power, sir is coming up with so many things. So here I can say, mentally, physically, not physically, mentally, we are attached with him, we are attached with the IDYM like anything. And then based on that, I personally feel that emotionally intelligence is really very important in the life of a human being. Lot many things, because this is a vast topic, lot many things are there to be spoken to, but I could feel this is the only part I could speak to you all. Thank you very much for giving me the chance. Thank you, Mr. Soji. That's great.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ishtiaq Ahmad Sheikh. Great hearing from you. And I really love the way you put the things together about the emotional connection, about we are, because of the internet era, and through the Zoom we are connected from the different parts of the world, even though we are not seen physically. And we are still connected, emotionally bond. You are explaining about how the students are behaving during the COVID session, and as a principal he shared his views how we should be going ahead dealing with the students, during this COVID era. Thank you very much for that wonderful words. Next, I should call Miss Sudhapa Nandi. I welcome Ms. Sudhapa Nandi on behalf of IDYM for being the presenter for this session, and a short introduction about Ms. Sudhapa Nandi. She's a dreamer, she's an achiever, she's a mother, she's a motivator speaker, she's a motivator, she's a speaker, she's a coach, and she believes in transforming lives and help people become the best version of themselves. Beautiful. She is a multi-talented woman, as a coach, social activist, NLP practitioner, educator, communication skill trainer, life coach, parenting coach, TV anchor, makeup artist, and an entrepreneur running 2 restaurants. And she's very connected with me because I'm a chef by profession. That's great. Um, have worked as a cabin crew, cabin director, grooming, mentor, style, and image brand developer, personality development trainer at International Airline Oman, Air Base in Muscat, and she's in Oman for the past 15 years. Ms. Sudhapa Nandi, I welcome you to this great platform, and we are enthusiastically waiting to hear from you about your thoughts on emotional intelligence. The stage is yours, please.
Thank you, Mr. Sauji, for that lovely, crisp and short, beautiful introduction. A very good morning, good afternoon, good evening to each one of you in the platform right now. And before I start talking and sharing my views and ideas about emotional intelligence, I would like to show my gratitude to Mr. Ravi, and thank you so much, Idym, for giving this opportunity, not only to me, to all of us present this evening. So emotional intelligence, which is a topic for today, and indeed, it is a beautiful and the need of the hour topic. We all need to know what is emotional intelligence, understand, and then work on it. Now, in a very real sense, we have two minds, one that feels and the other that thinks. IQ, we all know what it is, and that is responsible for the logical and the rational thinking. Whereas EQ is responsible for all sorts of emotions, behaviors, feelings towards ourselves and towards others. According to Daniel Goleman's famous book on emotional intelligence, he has defined EQ or emotional intelligence beautifully as it means to understand, recognize, and manage your own emotions, as well as influence the emotions of others. It is very important to understand that emotional intelligence is not the opposite of intelligence. It is not the triumph of heart over head, but it is a unique intersection of both. Now, there are a few dimensions, and I will not repeat them elaborately because since I'm towards the last few speakers, so all the eminent speakers who have spoken before me has already mentioned about it in an elaborate way. But just to specify, there are few dimensions of emotional intelligence, and they are self-awareness, self-regulation, self-motivation, empathy, and social skills. As educators or as coaches, as teachers, we need to understand how we can develop emotional intelligence in our students, in our children. Now, children can be taught that all emotions are healthy because emotions are what unites the heart, mind, and the body. The children can be helped to develop the ability to correctly perceive the feelings of themselves and also the feelings of others. The quality of a good listener. The speakers before me have already spoken about the listening skills, and I would like to be very specific, but would like to mention about the listening skills, which each child and as adults as well, we need to develop the listening skills. Because when we have the quality of a good listener, our score of empathy increases and we have a high EQ as well. Because people with high EQ have a high score on empathy, and empathy comes from a good listening and effective listening skill. So they all are basically interconnected and interrelated to each other. We need to teach our students the art of self-talk, positive affirmations. And whenever they are talking to themselves, it has to be positive talk. We need to tell them about self-affirmations, internal dialogues, reflective analysis,
and the art of apology. Awareness can be created by discussing and educating peer parents and community members about new and different perceptions of intelligence. Only IQ is not everything in the real life situation of a person. Now, there are three strategies I would like to highlight that helps us to improve our EQ. First is identify your emotional state. Secondly, seek to understand. Third, focus on relationships. Now, all emotions have energies behind them, sometimes high and sometimes low. High energies like ecstasy, elated, excitement. And if you go on the negative side of the emotion, when it's on a high intensity, it can be anger, frustration. On the other hand, there can be low energies like calmness, boredom, sadness. Now, we need to make our students aware and let them understand and let them have the feel of self-realization. That's the first step, self-realization and self-awareness. Always ask yourself, is it high intensity or low intensity? And then go to the positive and the negative part. Learning how to identify your state of emotion allows you to self-cope. When you ask yourself these questions, what made you feel this way? Or what is it that triggered you to behave in that particular way? When you think this way, it will help you to create an immediate distance and a shift from the source that is causing a negative emotion, and you will be moving towards a positive state of mind. There's no such thing as good or bad emotion. There's only good or bad reactions to your emotions. Now, when I say seek to understand, you need to listen to what others are saying. When we listen, we can empathize with others. We can put ourselves into their shoes. We can ask thoughtful questions. What led you to make that decision? Or let's say, what was that thought process which you were going through to come up with that idea? This allows you to go behind of being said to uncover the drivers of motivation. This helps you to put yourself in their shoes, taking on their perspective and seeing the world through their eyes. Focus on relationships. As I mentioned, the third strategy. We need to focus on how you work with your colleagues, if you are an educator or a teacher, with your students, or people around us. We need to focus how we are behaving with them socially and professionally, so that you can make your relationships more effective and you can enjoy the relationship. Now, each of our feelings or emotions, what we call, is a messenger to us. So we should never neglect any of our emotions. Your anger tells you where you feel powerless. Your anxiety tells you that something in your life is off balance. Your fear tells you that what do you care about? Your apathy tells you that where you are overextended or burnt out. So your feelings and emotions are not random. They are the messengers. And if you want to get anywhere, you need to be able to let them speak to you. That was all from my side about emotional intelligence. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sudhapa Nandi, for your great thoughts. Thank you very much, Ms. Sudhapa Nandi, for your great thoughts. A good takeaway from you is about the Danya Goldsman's book, and the one you shared about the understand, recognize, and manage. And the other one is about the feelings are messengers. That's a great thought. And you are just mentioning about the importance of listening skills and identifying the emotions which are of high energy level and of low energy level. And you also mentioned about the need of self-realization. Thank you very much for those wonderful thoughts. And we're going to the next speaker now. We have Dr. Iman Alam from Egypt. Thank you, Dr. Iman Alam, for being in this platform, and I welcome you as a moderator representing IDYM. And I think it is evening 6:15 there. And let me introduce Dr. Iman Alam. She is a dedicated lecturer and a highly skilled researcher. When I read her profile, I can understand she is a trainer in various subjects in graduate and postgraduate levels, doctoral and postdoctoral levels. And his biography is so rich that it needs a couple of minutes to explain it. And what I can understand is currently Dr. Alam is working on several planned extracts which has proved significant effects and promising results in the treatment of colon and prostate cancer. Indeed, what a great area she is doing her research. She got her MSc and PhD thesis in plant psychology and other areas, and she's having a lot of patents under her name. That is a very interesting one, and she is basically addressing us from Egypt. And what I want to add here is she is a president of many scientific meetings, and she participates as various keynote speakers and scientific meetings. And she is working with a lot of training organizations in many countries in Europe, US, Asia, and Africa. And yes, we have a great eminent speaker over here. And the platform is all for yours. Dr. Iman, you are welcome.
Thank you very much, sir. My voice is clear?
Yes, you're very clear.
Thank you very much for this great introduction. This is because you are great, not because I am great. Thanks for IDM. Thanks for Dr. Ravi and for our lovely daughter, Donel. Thank you very much for all moderators, organizers behind or on the spot. Thank you very much for all. And I wanted to deliver my message to IDM in Indian language. Apsi bihot pyari. Thank you very much and good night. Now I wanted to talk about emotional intelligence in education. I know that many lectures before me are focused on emotional intelligence in education, but I want now to highlight emotionally intelligent educators. I'll focus on characters of some emotionally intelligent educators. These educators are educating by the balance between the emotional heart and the intelligent mind, because they are in love with their educational messages and they are doing everything by love, but they are highly qualified enough to control their qualifications and so on. They are using different strategies in distribution and the simplification of science via using active learning, including IPA, in which students is the core of the educational process and the educator is only facilitator. They are teaching their students how to love working in a teamwork, how to be self-dependent, and how to love others, how to appreciate others, how to listen to others. And also they are improving themselves to be more qualified technical educators. These educators are professional in both online and offline modes of education due to their interactivity with their students at very high level. At the end, I am not saying that we need to only depend on being emotionally intelligent people or being emotionally intelligent educator, but also we need to improve our qualification as educators. We need to do continuous improvement for a better future for our students. we need to build our students not to be only a student, but to be our colleagues in the future. The best example of emotionally intelligent educators is very clear during the days of pandemic, in motivating students, in maintaining their psychological health at a good level, in encouraging them to overcome any stress or any bad effects of the pandemic. I am also trying to work on myself. I learned many things not before of me, but before of my student. For example, they are trusting me and asking me in some things, maybe personally things. So I learned psychology to improve myself because of my students. We need to work on ourselves because of our students. So as I said before, this thing is depends on the balance between emotional heart and our wise mind and our intelligent mind. Thank you very much. I try to stick to the time. I don't like to affect the time of our colleagues. Thank you very much again. I appreciate IDM because they are supporting Seed Talk. Thank you very much again.
Thank you very much, Dr. Iman Alan. And the good takeaway from you, what I can understand is, as we know, student is a core educator, an important factor. The student is an important factor of the education process. We educators who are in education field, they are just the facilitator. It is either in online or offline, this remains the same. And how to manage emotional quotient is very important for the students. And the great inspired words from you and great hearing from you. And take care. We will meet again.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we are moving ahead to our next speaker of this section is Miss Manjoy Sharma Pathagiri. She's an educator. She is a news reader in Doordarshan. Wow, that's great. She's Western music announcer in All India Radio. We are eagerly waiting to hear from you because if we an announcer, your presentation will be superb. And she started her career at a college in 2000 and at the AIR, All India Radio at the same time. She's having a passion towards teaching and connecting with people. Her flair of writing continued. She's very good in writing poems, short stories, and often published in magazines and special edition of newspapers. That's really great, man. And she will share many of her write-ups in wall magazines and social media with different renowned groups and associated with various medias. And she is, with one of the premier institutions of Guwahati, and Maria Public School has given her opportunity to further, come up her teaching career with the school, believing in the month. She believes in learning beyond the classroom. That's very important. And the 21 years of experience as an educator and leading national broadcasting media, Prasar Bharati, will be a great experience to bring out that immense learning experience, reaching to various people across the globe. And we are eagerly waiting to hear from you. One more thing I want to add. She has bestowed the Versatile Women Award by Creative Writing Modern Age and also the iconic Women Award 2022. Thank you and congratulations, ma'am, for that. And the platform is yours. You can go ahead.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. I'm really humbled. Greetings to respected speakers, moderators, participants, and the audience. Listening to the presentations of the learned speakers and thereby the takeaways given by the moderators, it has been a wonderful and enriching experience. Well, it's my privilege to get an opportunity to share my views related to emotional intelligence in this international Seed Talk organized by IDYM group of companies. My heartfelt thanks to the IDYM team and the founder Ravi Sir for making a platform which connects a global audience. This is, in fact, the best example of emotional intelligence, I think, because we can all collaborate as a team under the leadership of Ravi sir, of course. Well, I begin by quoting Buddha's words. Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. So true, isn't it? Indeed, recognizing our emotions and learning to manage them is one of the most important skills. This is emotional intelligence, which is defined as the ability to perceive, use, understand, manage, and handle emotions, like all our previous speakers have said. So we have to adjust our emotions to adapt to environments. Like we cannot show our anger in our workplace as we do it at home. Now, in this regard, I would like to show you a short presentation, keeping in mind the time also. Can I share my screen?
Please go ahead.
So this is emotional intelligence as defined, the ability to understand, use, and manage our emotions in positive ways to relieve stress, communicate effectively, empathize with others, and overcome challenges, thereby diffusing the conflicts. Then we move on to the characteristics of emotional intelligence, which are self-awareness. As a self-aware leader, you know how you feel, you recognize others' emotions and the strengths and weaknesses. Then coming to self-regulation, we hold ourselves accountable to our actions. So we need to be reassured and motivated to take positive action. Then, talking about motivation, it partly stems from understanding what you want to do and why you want to do it. Then, coming to empathy, which is the ability, and this ability helps us to develop people on our team, challenge stereotypes and unfair assumptions, deliver critical feedback wisely, and also to be a good listener. Our earlier speakers had also stressed on this very important skill, the listening skills. So we need to listen, we need to be observant and listen to others' opinions. Then coming to social skills, which are about the art of making an emotional connection with communication. So then moving on to the importance of emotional intelligence, which increases leadership ability, team performance, decision making, and personal well-being. It reduces staff turnover and thereby decreases occupational stress. So it plays a large role when we have difficulty in conversations, and then it doesn't hurt others' feelings when we have emotional intelligence. Then it improves relationships and it resolves conflict, and thereby it creates a collaborative environment. Then we move on to the measurement of emotional intelligence, where two methods are there, the self-report and the ability-based measures. So persons who have an emotional quotient of 115, they are considered to be people having high emotional intelligence, and then they can handle criticism without denial, blame, and excuses or anxiety. And these people, they are open-minded and they are good listeners, and they can very nicely say sorry if they have done any mistake, which is very important. So next we move with improvement of emotional intelligence, how it can be improved. We can utilize an assertive style of communicating. We can respond instead of reacting to conflict, which is very important, I think. So we should utilize the active listening skills we have by being motivated and practice ways to maintain a positive attitude. Self-awareness, of course, should be there. Empathy should be there. Leadership skills. And then foremost thing is that we have to be approachable and sociable. So it's very important in organizations, for the employees, for the leaders, to have this emotional quotient. Next, we move on to the benefits. So benefits are, it allows for better teamwork. Then you can deal with change. You can handle tough conversations. And it is an essential people skill. So by people skill, we can also give more stress, like we can build trust. So if we are emotionally intelligent people, then we have trust, we empathize, and then we can get involved in many teamworks. And it's a key feature of a strong leader. A strong leader has to have emotional intelligence. And so, greater understanding, stronger relationships, better decision making, and controlled behavior with positive interactions are the benefits of it. Then, coming to the next, like emotions, intense emotions like anger or sadness can be used constructively. Then, we use these emotional states to facilitate problem solving and creativity. So, I would like to pause the share here. So,
You have a stop sharing. You can see at the top of the
yes,
right.
sir, I saw it now. So, in fact, this emotional intelligence can improve our management of anger. As we saw in this brief presentation, it deals with frustrations and work towards better resolutions to deal conflict. As an educator, I feel that more than academic attainment, it's the teacher's emotional intelligence that ensures a student's psychological well-being. Even in other fields, it is seen that kindness, patience, then empathy and self-awareness can make complex situations to be solved. This gives a purpose and vision to succeed in life. This popular line, never let success get to your head, never let failure get to your heart, tells us that a truly intelligent person follows this, isn't it? He can deal with rejection and failure, thereby having the resilience to bounce back, leading him to success. Herein lies the importance of emotional intelligence, as it can equip us to counter the effects of society and the world with confidence and to confront any adversity with proper insight and patience. So, I would like to end my speech with the words of the famous writer Oscar Wilde. I don't want to be at the mercy of my emotions. I want to use them, to enjoy them, and to dominate them. So let us all use our emotions in a positive way. Like if we are too sad, let us listen to music, go for a walk, write something. And also when we are happy, let us spread smiles. Really, when we recognize our emotions and manage it, then we are an emotionally intelligent person. So, with that, I end my deliberation. Thank you all for your patient hearing.
Thank you very much, Ms. Manjoy Sharma Patigiri, for your great insight and also the positive thoughts, the smile you brought to this platform of IDYM. So, understanding others' emotions through self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, social skills, very much important indeed. Along, it's tied up with the listening skills. And you shared that, like, for the leaders, emotional intelligence is very much important. And you also shared the way how the emotional intelligence can be reported through self-report or ability-based measures of emotional intelligence to different ways. And you shared the benefits of EI, especially how the people can be managed, their skills, and give positive influence, creating trust, especially for the leaders. Emotional intelligence is great. That's a great takeaway from today's presentation. You underline one thing: teachers' emotional intelligence is indeed important in the education sector. And you ended with the Oscar Wilde's great lines of the poem. And the great enlightenment you brought to this platform is indeed great. Thank you for great sharing. And we will meet again in another platform. Moving ahead with the last presenter of the C Talk is Miss Rajana Chakraborty, Professor Rajana Chakraborty. She is not a stranger for this IDYM platform. I even presented in few of the conferences and symposiums and even in IDYM, and she was a moderator for various sections. She's an educator with 26 years of experience associated with grooming students of various age group, and she has been a catalyst for transforming students' life. She's a writer, blogger, education counselor, international speaker, and a social activist. And she is a deputy chief moderator of Maharashtra State Board. She's currently working with that, and she co-authored books for State Board and several books for all age groups. And more to add, she awarded with several awards, both national and international, for the blogging and philanthropic work. None other than Professor Rajana Chakraborty, and the platform is yours, and we are eagerly waiting to hear from you, the last section and the last speaker for this Sea Talk session.
Thank you so much, Dr. Soji, and I salute your energy till the last you have saved it. And it's always a little disturbing when you're speaking at the end, but I consider it my privilege that I'll be ending it today, summarizing all the other eminent speakers who had spoken very nicely and very descriptively about this emotional intelligence. And first of all, thanks to IDYM platform who have been coming up with such certain levels of talk in the seat talk sessions. So it's really amazing to be a part of this. And thank you so much. So today, to start with, before I drag on to my most speeches, which I normally do try to move inside along with the definition, I'll not do that now because already it has been taken away by all the eminent speakers of the session, and they have clearly explained what exactly is emotional intelligence. And I don't think nothing is left for me which I need to describe, but only one thing: isn't this emotional intelligence, which we all have been experiencing for a period of around 2 hours together, and we have been emotionally connected, as many of our speakers said, that coming up to this platform itself and getting connected for the past 2 years and right now for 2 hours. So isn't that an emotional intelligence itself? Connectivity with each other, starting from the speeches from Dr. Seema Negi, who started with the quotes from the Gita and taking us away traditional and making us into that vibration mode, and then ending with a lot of calculations and lot of the mediums which we need to imagine ourselves. And my previous speaker, Manjuri Sharma, had also told very nicely about all the important things which an emotional intelligence needs to speak about. So summarizing everyone's speech, I would just love to say that emotional intelligence is just the beginning of what we all want. We don't you think that we are naturally drawn, closer to the person who is having emotional intelligence? Just observe that. We are very much comfortable when we come with them. It feels as though they can, read the social cues with superhuman ability. Perhaps they can even do mind reading and how people feel to some extent. So this effortless is the welcome in all the domains, at the home, in social settings, at work. The person whom you get connected to is really having emotional intelligence. So if you see that connection coming from inside, even in Buddhism also we have seen that emotional connectivity comes from inside. So you get connected. But when I talk about, which Dr. Seema had also spoken about, that anybody can become angry, we know that, and that's very easy, to become angry. But to be angry with the right person and to the right degree and at the right time and for the right purpose and in that right way, that is not within everybody's power. And that is not easy. And an emotional, intelligent person knows how to do that. You really have to be, being angry is not a fault, it's not a crime. We are human beings, we can be angry. We need to just channelize the degree, the time, the motion, or just keep quiet. So this really affects our innate behavior. You might have noticed many a times when you are moving around, you feel attracted, you feel emotionally attached with certain person. Right now, the medium has changed, but in spite of that, we are emotionally attached with certain person and we respect their feelings, knowingly or unknowingly. But did you ever notice your own feelings personally? Have you ever tried to step into somebody else's shoes, experiencing their emotions, how they would feel? Then if you did that, how did you understand what you felt at that time, and why did you feel like that? Did you ever think about that? Just ponder and think, because the topic emotional intelligence means a lot. As educators too, we have been emotionally attached with our students. We have been told the stereotype that all the time repeating, keep quiet, the words, keep quiet in the class, keep quiet should not be said again and again. You need to be emotionally attached with your students. They should understand what you really want to speak. And instead of telling keep quiet, they should be able to maintain that silence themselves. So it is like they are attached with you from one soul to the other. So the soul connection comes in. So that is your emotional intelligence, which is needed right now after the pandemic. When the students come in, after a break, we are trying to bridge the gap which they had suffered in this 2 years. So doing that, we feel that this internal connectivity is very much important. Our mind's ability to perceive, to manage, to express the emotions effectively in real life is very, very important. So it varies. We know that from one person to another, everyone doesn't have the same person. We might be undergoing different cycles in our life, maybe the emotional trauma, setback, which we suffer from. But did you ever realize that it was happening in a cycle, in a regular process? Maybe the surrounding might have changed. That same way of anger arisal has come in when you were a student. Then it came in at your different age group. When you went to college, probably that same cycle came into you, your target points. You need to understand that. You need to find out that why again and again, you are repeating and doing the same thing. That is where you need to interact with yourself and find out where you are lacking. If your car keeps on moving, just a small example, if your car is moving and it's not reaching the destination, you're just moving round and round. So that means you have not completed, your focus is not clear, your attachment has been detached. So these things you right now need to focus on. We all know that, especially when talking about women, they have their menstrual cycle. So in this cycle, their mental setback is quite eminent. It is evident. Whereas for the men folk, it is not like that. They don't know when when the anger will come, when they will be happy, when they will be sad. They don't know. But for women, it's a little bit different because they know that during this period of time, they have their mood swings. So it is a behavioral change or an emotional attachment which they are undergoing in that particular period of time. When they feel that somebody whom they love are going away, their emotions are expressed in such a way. So, but for the men folk, it is totally different. They really don't know when the cycles come to them, when their emotional attachments are going to be, in that higher level or in that lower level. So that way, they need to really find out where they are lagging and cultivate on that, exercise on that, and bring out that or drain out that level. So basically, an emotionally intelligent person will have these few points, very important, which already our speakers might have mentioned somewhere to some extent. First, if you are emotionally intelligent, you should have the ability to recognize your own emotions. Secondly, ability to relate to others' emotions. Third, ability to actively listen to others. Do you really do it? Please question yourself. The ability to actively participate in interpersonal communication and understand the nonverbal clues of behavior. Then, fifthly, the ability to control one's thoughts or feelings. Are you able to do? Are you able to snap off just in a second? You are in this thought, then you are in this thought, then you come down directly to another thought. Are you able to do that? The ability to effectively manage your own emotions, express them socially in a very acceptable way. The ability to receive the criticisms positively. Do we do that? We always forget. We feel when we are criticized, that's the end of the day, end of the session. So when we are trying to say something, we cannot accept criticism from the other side. The power to forgive, forget, and move on rationally. These things will make you an emotionally intelligent person. So these exercises, I personally do it myself because normally when we are in our work area, we find a lot of students who are from different backgrounds, and to manage them, we need to have our emotional built up quite strong. So always question yourself. If you're being criticized, if some students are trying to drag you down or nag you, so how do you change that situation? So that is very, very important. So you need to just develop your emotional intelligence by identifying your negative emotions. We all have negative emotions. Basically, a large area of our emotional intelligence lies in the emotional management. How well we manipulate our feelings effectively and use them and make them more resilient and immune to our stress. So that is where we should not use harsh words when someone is upsetting us. So don't react. That's one best way we can, keep control of our emotional management. And do not jump to conclusions. Check yourself the moment negative thoughts start clouding up. Just stop. Just don't say anything. So in times of distress, especially, people starts thinking that you need to react. So it's not that your individuality is snapped off. You need to sometimes stop, check your negative moment. Don't speak when you're too much happy or too much sad. Your self evaluation is very, very important. We need to self evaluate. Am I thinking the right way? Should I have used those words today in front of my principal or in front of my other colleagues? How would I have reacted if I were in his place? So you need to continuously ask these questions. Is there another way of looking into the matter? And if you get an answer, that means your emotional intelligence is right. Am I on the right track? Is my family happy with me? So just keep on asking these questions. Self-expression is very important. It is your emotional, it's just like both emotional intelligence and self-expression going hand in hand. And without one, we cannot do the others. So people who can identify that, they can move ahead. Again, stress management is that which we all need to do that with emotional clarity and awareness, especially in workplaces. People who have achieved the tremendous success in the professional lives do not get it only because they're good at job. A lot of success is the byproduct of their emotional self-awareness. So you need to splash cold water on your face after a stressful encounter and get back to work. Cool conditions will help you reducing the anxiety levels which was rising up. So basically, this is very important. And of course, empathy we need to have. It's the power to see the world with others' eyes. It's very essential of any other mental health related research. So empathy begins at home, and random acts of kindness like a thank you note, a little help to offer, or an open heart to heart conversation, all that takes to set foot towards an empathetic line. Even at the workplace, listening to a colleague without judging, which I normally do myself. Whenever somebody is speaking, it irritates me sometimes, but then I try to listen to them, what they have to say. I don't try to judge because I know maybe they have that much of their understanding capacity. So as a result, they are communicating in that way and accepting the harsh words from someone without undergoing the stress with a calm pace. It only significantly builds our own emotional and social intelligence, thereby strengthening the interpersonal bonds. So, stating this, I just would love to end by saying that emotional intelligence is the real need of an hour. If we are not emotionally sound, we will not be able to take the decisions in a proper way. There are many negative things which are happening around us. The universe is filled with that aura. But if we are emotionally sound, if we are emotionally stable, we can take everything positively. We can just turn the perspective of it and look at things from a different point of view. So, you need to concentrate more on your work. So, thank you so much, Dr. Soji. And it was wonderful listening to all the speakers. And I enjoyed being the last speaker of the session to wind it up all. So, thank you so much. Thanks to all the eminent speakers for vibrating my thoughts once again today on emotional intelligence.
Thank you very much, Professor Rachana Chakravarti. Indeed, it is a great pleasure to listen to you, and great thoughts, from the experience of many years of academic experience. You share a lot of things, especially from educators' point of view and students' point of view. Is indeed, as you underlined, is indeed need of art. Let me summarize what you just conveyed right now about mind reading social cues, and you right way you said about the angry, to getting angry is not a crime, and how you manage it, how you manage it is very important. The empathy should be very important. And you also underline, for the personalities, this comes in different cycles, different stages of life. Cycles, traumas all will be coming, and how well able to manage it. And another thing is about ability to receive the criticism, how you deal with the criticism. And like all other speakers just mentioned, recognizing others and how you deal with others, and how you look into their mind or into them and reflecting things, how you are reacting or responding. That is very much important. That is very much important. Are you reacting? Are you responding? And this needs some kind of more experiences, as most of the speakers were quoting from spiritual way, or through the scientific way. We can adapt all those things. Indeed, is important. And how to manage emotional intelligence. What a great thoughts hearing from the speakers. And during this COVID time, we should understand one thing, and let me summarize that also. And I just want to share about the heart's quality teaching attributes. What do you say about emotional state, self-awareness, relationship skills, generativity, and competence? Emotional state should be managed physically and emotionally. Another thing is self-awareness, the detecting mechanism for the emotional state. We have to adjust at the various time. And during the COVID or pre-COVID, post-COVID time, we should say that we are all together. That's how we can tell the students, because students will be going through various comas, death, disease, or various kind of things during the COVID time. And even though we go through all these things, we have to keep up the standards, the education standard, by marking your mark. And we should be able to compete by applying these knowledges, what we learn from here during the seat talk, and knowledge, and need to be successfully performed the professional or educational in the life. So that's what the Hertz quality teaching attributes mentioned. And today it was indeed a great day to hear from all these presenters. Thank you very much, Prof. Rachana. And for the last words for this seat talk, I just convey to Ms. Dr. Pooja Dikshit Doshi for the final words for this section. Thank you, IDYM, once again for giving this opportunity. Thank you, Ravi sir.
Thank you, Dr. Soji, for such a wonderful moderation. So at last, we have reached the final segment of the session. What a heartwarming session it was today. Really, it was great hearing from all the interactive speakers and the moderators. You all speak so practically on today's topic. Congratulations once again to all the speakers for having this wonderful sessions, amazing session, very well documented, informative and inspirational. I really, from the bottom of my heart, this topic is very close to my heart. I think with each one of us, that how emotions need to be take care of us. We need to understand, we need to recognize our emotion. As Professor Rachna mentioned, that if somebody is criticizing, we need to take it. And then we need to mention it, we need to name it. Okay, we have been criticized for some, we need to work over that. So if we are labeling the emotion, if we are naming the emotions, we can easily tame them. We can work upon them. We can respond it. We don't have to react. So emotional intelligence asks for mutual understanding of the people. As today, we all are emotionally attached. We all in this IDYM Foundation, we all are emotionally attached. Though we haven't seen each other, but still we are attached to each other. We are learning from each other through these sessions. Need to nurture them very well. And with this IDYM family, we all are connected. A big thanks to the entire team or IT team of IDYM and all the organizing team for the tremendous efforts put in and for all the support. Now I would like to present the certificates to all the speakers of today's evening. Dr. Soji, sir?
Hey guys, I have a
Yes,
question
ma'am.
for you.
Puja, ma'am. I can hear you.
Okay. So today I feel blessed to be a part of IDYM Foundation, our family, where we all are connected. One takeaway from what I have learned today, that we need to educate our emotion as our intellect. It's important to know how we feel, how to respond, and how let life in so that it can touch you. So we all will keep in touch. If anybody wants to express any views regarding anything. So the platform is all yours.
I learned a lot today, frankly
Seriously,
speaking.
me too,
I
me
know,
too. From all the
yeah,
eminent, our senior speakers.
from the diverse angles, it's very much, you know, happy to hear from ladies how they feel the emotional intelligence, you know, and most of the presenters were ladies as well. So it's really understand to know how you all are dealing with this emotion. You all are learning. There is no end journey. This is a journey, the long journey through various way how we can, understand and tame our anger or our emotion, which is very important.
Thank you, sir, for appreciating this divine power. I think all will agree with this when it comes from a man. Thank you, sir. Sir, can we wind up the session?
Ravi Shankar sir, wants
Ravi
to say
Shankar,
something?
sir? I think it's high
Yes, ma'am.
time.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. Good night, everyone.
Good
Bye-bye.
night,
Bye.
everyone. Good night, ma'am.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Recording stopped.